On, guys.
Good evening, folks. Graphics here. Yeah, I guess this will just be a little bit different, having the comments all the way over on the right-hand side here. And then I'll just pull in.
Get your drinks. You still got a couple minutes before everybody gets in the chat. Remember, evening chats are informal. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Massalorian might have a couple of topics that he wants to talk about. He's driving the ship tonight, so
I'm wondering if I should get boozed up, if I should get some booze up in me.
Absolutely.
Real quick. All right, let me do that.
Don't make me drink alone.
All right, hold on. Let me grab some booze.
How's everybody? How was your day? Anybody making some money? Anything Goes says, what is my take on GTII? All right, I'm going to give you my take, which I've shared with folks in the Discord and on a couple of live streams. I'm not in the play, long or short. I'll just be straight up. Not in the play. Wish I would have at 60 cents to $1. But at this price point, I don't think I'm going to be hopping in. And what I said to my audience on that day that it ran up to $8 was watch it for a couple of days and keep an eye on the volume. And if you're seeing declining prices and declining volume, that you should be very careful about whatever anyone's saying on YouTube. You should be careful if you're dealing with declining prices and declining volume. So every day when I'm watching GTII, I'm only looking at the volume, and it's either in consolidation or about to go into another downward trend. So all depends on if retail brings the buying power, honestly. And unfortunately, we don't have good numbers on shorts. The only data I can see on shorts is the data that's published every 2 weeks. So we'll be getting an update in a few days. So I would say be careful, be cautious about what anyone's telling you on YouTube, and keep a close eye on it. I am willing to bet anybody, just a friendly bet. I don't care. I hope you all make $100 a share. But I'll take bets that it doesn't see $8 again.
You're talking about a stock that starts with the ticker letter G?
GTII. Yeah.
I knew it.
But if you're in it, I want you to succeed. It's just too risky for me at this point.
Yeah, risk versus reward right now is where I'm having the dilemma.
The good thing is, if it's a green week on the markets, if money's flowing in, that helps. That's that works for GTII. If it's a down week, that's another negative.
Yeah, so. For sure. Yes, 100%. So you said I think I just caught you when I came back in. You never got into GTII, right?
I didn't. I sure wish I would have had the gumption to get in between 60 cents and $1. There's some of these, when someone's pumping a OTC play or something new, sometimes the first time around, I like to just see what it does, So then the next time I kind of have, all right, well, here's what Lou and the gang were able to do. And maybe jump on it next time and when it's under $1, because your risk is a lot more minimal at that point.
Yes, for sure. Really, Adrian? You think so? Interesting take. Let's see. Richard said he planted 1,600 cloves of bulbs of garlic today.
Damn.
I want to make sure this is the right stream. Are we on a botanist stream, or is this agricultural, or are we talking about the market tonight? I see cornbread and garlic and all kinds of foods coming in. That's what cut the stream short last night. Everyone started getting hungry. I was like, well, that's a perfect exit from moi. So
someone's asking about
eat up.
MULN and MMTLP. I've also talked over the past couple of weeks about MMTLP. I, again, do not believe what the other YouTubers are saying based on my due diligence on that one. I mean, I know for a fact that shorts do not need to cover just because it's being, you're getting NextBridge shares. That is a fallacy. That's a fallacious argument. The shorts might need to pay the lender, but they don't need to cover. So just take that off the table in my world. And secondly, I have said, and you can agree or not agree, but you're asking my opinion, so I'll share it. I think that the value of that stock, people are saying based on the assets of the future oil, yada, 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 it's a $20 stock, a $40 stock, a $100 stock. The market is very good at determining value of a company. And so I would submit in my analysis, the price that it's at, or just before people started pumping it, is the value of that stock. And you're going to go, when that S1 formally drops, you're going to have a few days where there could be more retail piling in, on the retail FOMO. So, don't give up on MMTLP, but there's going to be a point where people realize you're about to be handed NextBridge, a stock which is not going to be tradable on any exchange. So
not going to be right.
NextBridge shares are not tradable. So you're going to convert to NextBridge and you're going to have nowhere to trade it. And at some point in the future, maybe, if you hang on to them, if you didn't get out, or you didn't get out before it crashed, you'll still have those shares. And NextBridge has said that they intend probably at some point to take the company public in a share offering to raise cash. So you're going to go public in a dilution. So that's all my due diligence on MMTLP, not my type of risk basket. It's just too many negatives in my world, and I'm not looking at it through rose-colored glasses. I'm just trying to be very objective about it. And again, if you're in it, I wish you a bunch of luck. Don't make a buy or sell decision based on what I'm saying, but you might want to look into the things that I brought up if you haven't heard those before.
Roadside says, hey guys, any opinion on MULN Automotive? I don't know if you spoke to that before I came back, but did you talk about the, what was that, 30% run the other day?
Beautiful run on MULN. I mean, buying MULN at 20 cents, even though I'm not the biggest fan of MULN, as you guys know, buying it at 20 cents is kind of like buying Sundial at 20 cents or Highcroft at 20 cents. I mean, all you need is one little bit of good news to get a retail, what I call the plausible pump news, anything to get a bunch of retail excited for a few days. But I said in my Discord yesterday that if I was a shorting person, I'd be shorting MULN at 50 to 55 cents. And I think you'll have an opportunity to buy it again soon in the 20 to 30 cent range. So that's just my take. I don't think that the news that ran it up, this licensing deal with another company's product, is justifiable of a run up. I mean, were revenues announced? It's like MULN is the company that keeps on buying shit that never actually is producing shit. They're buying factories, they're buying IP, they're signing a licensing deal, but when are they going to, they're trotting around the new model on a nationwide tour, which is good. They're doing that to raise money, but that's the challenge for MULN. They need to continue selling that 1.75 billion shares, continue the dilution, and raise cash to get into production. So I think you got plenty of time to play MULN. Hopefully you guys make some money on it, sell into strength, but it's going to come back down until they really get real revenue on the books.
Got it. Jimmy K about Disney and partying with AMC. So we talked about this a little bit earlier today, me and you. What do you see as being the biggest benefit? And last night I was trying to make the distinction between mergers and acquisitions. Like what do you think ultimately at the end of the day this would end up being? Just in your opinion, speculating.
A merger acquisition of what?
Between Disney and AMC.
What would be the benefit?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My mind goes first to why would anyone want to buy a company with $5 billion in debt and negative earnings? But
let's start there.
But I mean, if they did agree to buy a company with $5 billion in debt and negative earnings, it's because Disney would see a synergy they could capitalize on to pay that off, right?
Yes. I was just thinking to myself the other day, as far as Disney goes with Disney Plus, and somebody, I'm going to try and put this in the next video, but I saw a chart that went back to 2019 to look at the comparison between streaming numbers and the theater and the volatility between revenues and earnings. It's very interesting to see that since the pandemic, the streaming services have really taken the hugest hit. The theaters have done much better comparatively speaking.
People finally came to the realization that streaming is not all that when everyone's not stuck at home.
Yep.
Plus, there's a shit ton of competition in the streaming.
Right.
So all of these guys that were spending all this money creating streaming content are all of a sudden having to scale back because they're about to lose their ass.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, going back to your Disney question, I don't know if I want to. I mean, it seems like Adam Aaron and Disney have a pretty good relationship, but I don't know if I want to hitch my horse to that. And
Not
for
right
anyone who didn't hear the discussion the other day, I think I was in your chat, right? The other night, and Pantheon was in there, and we were talking about this videos and tweets going around about the merger acquisition and the 8A12B. Just to clarify, anyone who missed that, what I put out on Twitter and what Pantheon confirmed that he agreed with in Massalorian's chat last night is there was no amended document. That was somebody's misunderstanding. It was a document released along with everything else on August 4th when the APE was announced or launched. And so that wording's been there all along. This is just someone on a board weekend was reading through the document. You know, I read them all in the first couple days, but someone noticed, you know how I talk about clickbaiters sometimes, like they read a 40-page document and pick one keyword to make a clickbait video about because it gets people excited.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
I feel like that's kind of what went on. Someone was probably, what merger and acquisition? I got to get this out. I saw a tweet today, Massalorian, speaking of that type of analysis. If you go to the SEC website and pull up all the documents about AMC by typing in AMC, it'll show all the filings, and it'll say the following companies have something in common with AMC, and it'll list like a mortgage company and a hospitality company and a couple of others. This is just like a Google search, guys. If you type in AMC, you're going to get a lot of irrelevant hits, And the same with the SEC search engine. These companies that are coming up is not because there's some hidden, what was the word they were trying to use? Some hidden banking. What's the phrase, Massalorian?
Dark money?
Not dark money, but it was like something like dark banking.
Okay.
It's these companies in the past, before AMC went public, either had the word AMC in their company name or it was their actual ticker. And I posted an example, and the person that put the tweet up like, oh yeah, but shadow banking. You're not seeing the whole shadow banking. They're hiding money in this mortgage company that was delisted in 2008. Come on,
That's
guys.
a stretch.
Come on, guys.
There
the company
definitely is a lot of that going on. I'm not going to say there's not.
It's driving me to the point of insanity, having to deal with the paranoid, delusional leaps of speculation that people are willing to make to connect dots where dots don't exist, when you can just be patient and let things work themselves out by Adam Aaron fixing the fundamentals of the company, or something going wrong in the market and getting an institution tripped up and have to get some short covering going. Whatever it ends up being, I'm okay with, but we don't need to create delusional theories. I'm not gonna spend my time shitting on people that are doing that stuff. I post, hey, well, here's the reason why that came up. This used to be their ticker symbol, and up till 2008 when they were bankrupt and delisted. I don't want to hear that. Just tell me my theory is right.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to draw that line, right? To not go down that road. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I get the temptation to, want anything to tell you that it's going to happen tomorrow. And I wake up every single day hoping that that's going to be the day that I wake up and pre-market and it's up dollars, and then we just keep going. But I don't need to create theories. And you guys know from day one, that was never the point of this channel. I'm not going to entertain speculation. But if there's something legit, or something, if it's a theory that has legs, like let's talk about popcorn sales. I tweeted that out today.
I saw that.
Ready to eat and microwave popcorn, predicted to be a $13 billion industry by 2031. That's good speculation. This is factual data through market surveys and numbers that are already out there. And we're going to have a slice of that. I can't tell you what that slice is until we get up and running, but this is something to look forward to, whether you're, holding AMC for a squeeze or for the long term, just because you like movie companies like I do. That type of speculation I like. But unfortunately, I can't tell you we're going to have $1 billion in popcorn sales on year one, because I just don't know.
Right. Let me ask you this, Tony, because Arthur is asking, who won the Black Adam giveaway?
Arthur, I'll do a video on that in the morning, or maybe I'll do it live. Let's see. I was waiting until midnight on Monday to get the exact, it was 67 million. And then it ticked up a little bit at 11 p.m. And then I forgot to look at it again today, Arthur. So I'll put a clip of the winner. How when I do a contest, I'll do a clip of whoever had the winning vote when I make the announcement. It was someone who guessed right over 67 million is going to be the winner.
Okay. Oh. PM Righteous says, hey guys, good evening. Good evening, PM Righteous. So I just joined ComputerShare and was going to DRS all of my AMC shares from Webull and Robinhood. Do you think it's wise, and will ComputerShare execute quickly in a squeeze? Now, I know we've talked about this a lot of times, and we've continued to say that our only issue with it is that last part of the question, right? Do you think it's wise? What? Yeah,
for me, it's an unknown, but I saw that Spence, aka Froggy Stonks, he needed some money for a down payment on his house, and he posted his ComputerShare. He had to sell some shares, unfortunately, a couple $1,000s worth to have the money he needed. And according to him, he got same day execution. I don't know. I don't recall how fast it was. Maybe if he's listening in, he can drop in the chat if it was minutes or hours, but it was same day. I know that.
Also, that wasn't in the middle of a squeeze, though, right?
That's the unknown, right? In the middle of a squeeze, I cannot answer the question, how fast is it going to be?
That's my problem too, PM Righteous. And I think that's why we've left it at where we've left it at, because no promises, right? I mean, we just don't know. It seems to work fine when there's not a lot of volatility going on. Who knows what happens if we see days like June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2021. And I didn't hear any nightmare stories about that, but that doesn't mean they weren't out there.
Did you have something you wanted to say about Disney or a merger?
Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Disney right now. I think they are making a lot of mistakes with their content to push an agenda, and it's cost them. It's cost the movie industry. I just read an article the other day about how Dwayne Johnson, who was a star of Black Adam, for the last 6 years has been pushing Warner Brothers to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman. Why is that even necessary? And he wrote in the tweet, like, I did this because that's what the fans want. Like, finally someone, but again, not Disney, right? We're talking about DC. This isn't MCU. So it's not even like they're coming around, but at least Dwayne Johnson's coming around, and the new owners of WB are coming around, because he said multiple times throughout the years he has gone to them until they just switched up the board. As soon as the old ownership left and the new ones came in, boom, it was done. They cut that scene like 2 months ago. I don't want to do any spoilers, but that was last minute. They just popped that in. And Dwayne Johnson said, because we want to do what's right for the fans. And everyone else has taken a complete different road when it comes to that. And I think that's why we saw the box office in the last 25 years last quarter. It finally came to a head. And you see what happens. Right?
Did you see that headline that came across today? I already forgot the director's name, but there was a headline that came across today about a director who is not going to be doing future movies with Disney. I think he's got one left.
Taika Waititi?
Tell me the movies that he made.
He did Thor: Love and Thunder, Ragnarok.
No, it wasn't a Marvel or DC. Maybe someone else saw it. Tim Burton. Yes, Tim Burton. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Tim Burton. Okay. Is done doing movies. Wow. He's, I mean,
With-
one of the...
With Disney. Yeah. I think that capitalism in the end is going to win with these production studios.
So I told you I've been working on this video for the last couple of days now about the industry, right? And just did, and I went in to do some stories about some of the movies that came out in Q, why they flopped, what was the issues, why did we see the worst quarter in 25 years? And the more I've done the research into it, the more it seems to me they're going to have to answer at some point to say, continuing to happen. Why are we seeing success? Why is it Disney? You are the only ones having a... And I think that's going to come back to haunt them. And just from what I followed, you know, outside of the AMC community, following the Disney community on YouTube. So I've been checking in on those YouTubers for the last 6 to 8 months, just to see what they're saying as far as park management, as far as entertainment value, as far as, I mean, the whole company itself, I think, is in trouble. It's definitely part of the movie. The movie part of it is in trouble, but I think they have made it so expensive now. They basically just outclassed, you know, they've taken a whole class of citizens out of the running to be able to afford to go to Disney for a week vacation. And they're okay with catering to people with more money that don't care and will just come spend no matter what, right? And I think that's going to hurt them over the long haul.
I keep on seeing article after article since you brought that up a few months ago. It's still like almost weekly in the news, someone complaining about that. But I also, even though it is disappointing for the average American that, you know, they can't afford a vacation to Disney, I also look, you know, catering to the luxury client. If you can have a more enjoyable experience for your guests because it's less crowded and not impact your revenue or your reputation, well, I mean, make hay while the sun shines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They may have to roll that back at some point, but I can't fault them as a capitalist for doing that. They're literally trying to provide a better experience for everybody, and I'm sure they're keeping a close eye on the bottom line. And they're just saying, look, why work twice as hard for half the money?
Yeah.
It is a shame, but I can't knock them for that on their parks.
Yeah, I just think it takes out a whole demographic of people who you might need to rely on in the future, because how many of these rich people continue to go to Disney with their kids? I mean, eventually they grow up and that's it, right?
Yeah,
You're not
no
going
doubt.
back.
And at some point they may have to roll that policy back and hope that they didn't, hopefully they didn't burn too much goodwill.
Right. And we're just seeing the very beginnings of this right now between Feige and the MCU and everything that's going on with that. We're just seeing the beginning of it now. I mean, this is just starting to rear its ugly head, and already you can see the backlash. You can see what the results are. I don't think it was going to be a shock to anyone, you know?
Yep. Someone asked in your chat, do I think that GTII, do I still think GTII is a dead play? I wouldn't say that I said it was a dead play. What I said a week ago when it started peaking and coming down is now at this point, you need to pay very close attention to the price action and the volume. And when I see declining prices and declining volume, that is a sign that you need to be cautious about loading up. I would be cautious about loading up, and I'm certainly not going to. Well, there's a chance it could run from $5, sure, but it's too much over the risk parameters that I would enter at this point. If you're already in and you're green, what do you got to lose, right? Wait it out. Maybe more retail will come in, but it's not looking good in my read of the chart. It's looking like it's looking like one bit of news. And if I was GTII, I was telling Massalorian this on the phone earlier. I think it was you. If I was GTII, I'd be issuing more shares right now.
Fuck yeah.
And when that news happens, look out below.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have seen this happen 100 times in the last 2 years. The stock runs up, it hangs out. It hangs out just long enough for them to get the paperwork filed. And then overnight they drop a press release on you and you wake up to 40% drop.
Yep.
That's what I mean. If I had to game it out, that's what's coming.
Tony, by the way, someone's asking about your Discord. Do you have your Discord?
Yeah. Do I have it up? Not right now, no.
Yeah, someone's asking about your Discord. Okay.
What are they asking?
Mr. Heedy said, Mass, can you put up your and Tony's Discord?
I don't think Mass has one, and I don't talk about my Discord because I'm not here to sign people up for a Discord. If you want to find it, you can search it out.
What's up, Frankie Muhammad? I'm not a financial advisor. What's going on, buddy? Let's see. Let me pull this up. Country Pride, how you doing tonight? It says, as a retail investor, what and when will we see a retail squeeze win? And what stock would you predict in your opinion? Oh boy, God. You're getting into all the places we hate going.
What and when will we see?
If you're asking me, and I've read this, I'm going to be biased. In my opinion, it will be AMC. It'll be the first thing to squeeze, but I'm biased, so take that for worth.
And that's a win squeezes. For us. We see squeezes on stocks, lots of stocks every week for a couple days. So I mean, I don't know. AMC is not going to be first. I see them every week. The problem is, as always, people want everything to be a AMC or GameStop. So all these small channels talking about, oh, the short interest is high on this $1 stock. You know, it's going to go to 100, and then it goes to $8 and they don't sell because the YouTubers told them for a week it was going to 100. And then it's done. I mean, I've got a list 50 stocks long of stuff I've been watching people talk about for the last 18 months that do exactly that. And you guys have been in a lot of them. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
They, when someone makes a 600% run on a stock, normally in the past, you would be extremely excited to close that position out. Now, it seems like that's not enough, right? Just because we've seen a few stocks run at a higher percent rate. Just we've seen a couple in the last couple of months.
Yeah,
But typically,
I would just
you'd be very happy
remind
with that.
everybody. Yeah, I mean, GameStop, for example, had over 100% short interest. It had a loaded up options chain, and it had Ryan Cohen. Like, all of those things are not existing in all these little $1 penny stock plays that come up. So if you get a 100, 200, 400% gain on those, count your blessings, take your money. You know, if you want to leave a little bit for an extra run up, but, you know, knock it out, go ahead. But I sure hate to see people bag holding play after play on these little things. And I see the chats, and I see people learning, and I see people getting it now. But, you know, for the last year, people hate me because I tell you, take the money on these small plays and stop listening to these people telling you a 60-cent stock's going to 100. Because I hate to see you guys bag holding all these stocks that end up going back down to pennies.
Yeah, someone's going to be holding them bags. It's not you. Ellie, how you doing tonight? Ellie said, what do we think about the AMC acquisition rumors? How likely is it that Disney or Netflix acquires AMC? Another thing I didn't think of when someone else just asked that was, you know, now, I guess now with the stock price being at where it is, how it's come down so much, now I guess it could start to make a little more sense. But the problem is, again, the debt that you have to be taking on. So, you know, back when Bezos was looking at it supposedly for what's his company called again? Amazon. When he was looking at it, story, right? But I think now it's I don't know. I think we're past that point.
The reason that I'm like putting, you know, throwing a little bit of mud on the merger thing is people are talking about it right now this week because they misread a document. That is not right. That type of bad due diligence. Someone who doesn't understand what they're reading and then puts out false information that there was an amendment to an 8K, which is factually incorrect. I got to discount everything they say after that.
Yeah.
If you start off the conversation saying there was an amendment to an 8K and they added all these words about merger and acquisition, I already got to not listen to anything else you say because you started off with a bad analysis and your information is not right.
From the jump,
so,
yeah.
But I mean, we could talk about could AMC ever be bought out, but not because I don't want to talk about it because of 8K or some tweet that you read this week or this weekend. Those were all incorrect.
Yes. MC, what's going on, brother? Thank you very much. Appreciate you, bro, as always. Yuckerfurta said naked shadows, but I think we were talking about banking earlier. I think I missed
shadow
that.
banking. Shadow banking.
That's it.
That was the phrase I was looking for.
Yes. Demeanor says, Mass, did I watch Sab tonight? No, I was getting ready for the live stream tonight, Demeanor. I'm going to watch as soon as I get off. I'm going to see. I did see she was doing something big tonight. So I'll definitely check in, see what she's up to. Thanks for reminding me.
The one says, regardless, AMC is not going bankrupt. I agree. I mean, I get there, you know, on the one hand, I get people that say, I hate AMC, which I don't know why they say that because I've been telling you guys how much I like the stock and I'm going to hold it. Even if there is a short squeeze and it comes back down, I'm still going to support this company for the long run because I don't want to see the movie industry go away. But so on the one hand, some people say I hate the stock, which is false. On the other hand, people say I'm pumping it because I won't admit it will go bankrupt. Now, you're literally sitting live watching two people who have been the most factually honest with you of anybody in this entire community about the pros and the cons of holding AMC stock. Like, we've never dodged the fact that AMC's got a $5 billion debt problem. And we had a great discussion in the Discord earlier today. Massalorian, you weren't party to this, but we were talking about the debt and the lease obligations, and how does AMC overcome all of this? And it is, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, right? But I would really like to hear, and maybe I need to go back and listen to some some webcast if they had them back from 2016, 2017, 2018, what they were thinking. But I would like to hear from management, what is their plan to, why did they go from 1.7 billion in debt, buy up all these other theaters, go to 4.7 billion in debt? What was the thinking at that time in 2016 to 2019 to pay off that debt? And that is a question that the Bears ask, right? And they say, oh, well, the plan was to bankrupt the company. I disagree with you, Bears. I disagree with you, because they had a chance to bankrupt the company in 2020 and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. So I disagree with that premise. I do not think that management is in bed with a bunch of finance companies to bankrupt the company. So what was their thinking? I'm thinking they were hoping to get the company profitable by creating this mega monster of theaters and crowd out everybody else and out survive everybody, and then maybe do some dilution and pay off the debt. That's what I think they were thinking. And then 2020 and that hit.
Yep.
And that kind of put a rug pulled that plan. So now they're scrambling a little bit and having to push the debt out further. But it is a good question. How do we get out?
Same with to KYP. Yuka, the B is for Boston, and this is not a RC Cola. It's a PBR. I didn't even know they still made RC Cola. Let's see. Someone said here, Chapek totally destroyed Disney. And, you know, since he's come along, there have been a lot, big changes, right? Big changes since Chapek took over. But he's also made their bottom line more effective. He's been able to cut a lot of costs and save Disney a lot of money. So, you know, he's in it to make money, Chapek. He is not concerned about the noise, really. As you can see, he keeps doubling, tripling down on every shitty position they take when it comes to politics. Bless you. Bless you.
Woo!
Bless you.
Cigar smoke up my nose.
You all right? Good stuff. All right.
Highcroft, yeah. Highcroft could one day, years from now, be another way for AMC to raise some money. Absolutely. Thank you for 20 for the money for bringing that up. I don't think it's
going on tonight.
I don't think it's going to be this quarter, but down a few years from now, if Highcroft finds any real amount of gold or silver, absolutely, that could be another. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of moving pieces, plenty of possibility for me to stay interested in this play.
Yeah, I'm in no rush to leave now at this point. Cash Flowing says, Mass and TD, does AMC own any of the real estate that the theaters are on? Good question. I don't know. I mean, I know most of their stuff is leased.
Yeah, I was looking at the leases today when I was doing some of that financial analysis. I know some of y'all were asking me on Twitter, where have you been? I'm still doing research all day, every day. And those that are in my Discord can attest to that. And I do have a Highcroft video coming out that is going to be a massive amount of man hours put into getting that 5-minute video out. Might break it into 2 5 or 6 minute videos. But regarding the leases, we have there were some questions raised, like why does our liabilities show 12 billion if it's only 5.4 billion in corporate what's the word?
Debt.
Corporate borrowings. So there is another 4.4 billion in lease obligations. And due to the way that accounting is done, future lease obligations show up as liabilities. But if you look up in the assets, there's another offsetting journal entry on the income statement for those leases. So don't count leases as a debt. Leases are not debt. It's just they're forced to show them on the income statement, or is it the balance sheet? Whatever. Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm saying. Wherever it shows up, I forget. And I was just looking at it 8 hours ago, but it's been a long day. They're not debt, but they are forced by accounting rules to put them on the financial statements. So our quarterly rental payments are in the neighborhood of 200 to 225 million a quarter, I believe.
So about $1 billion a year.
About 225 times 4. So 225 milli times 4.
Yeah, just under $1 billion, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they could theoretically reduce that by getting rid of underperforming theaters as leases come up. But the long answer to the short question was, I didn't read anything about AMC owning any movie theater properties. So they could.
Yeah,
I didn't read anything about that.
Touche. Maximus Decimus Meridius says, I am ignoring everything being said at this moment. Just wait for it to happen whenever it is. I have lots of time, years and years. Yeah, I've kind of just come to accept that fact that there is no knows the day or the time. And when it happens, it happens. And until then, I'll stack my position. And if I get good deals, I'll get in on them. And I still have my original shares that I bought, all of them that I bought before August 31st of this year. So, which I'm still not touching. Humble tonight, JT Wisco house. What's going on, my man? Yeah, if you guys remember to hit the like button on the way in, that would be amazing. Thank you. He says, JT Wisco says, Wisconsin reporting for duty. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. What are you gonna say, T?
The one in my chat says Adam Aaron could just pay off the debt with APE. He could. I mean, that is another possibility. He could keep on issuing APE over the next 5 years and pay off the debt. And I'm sure, in the back pocket, they know they can do that. But I'm just saying the easiest way to pay off the debt without pissing off the shareholders is to sell into a run up or a short squeeze.
Run up. Right. Not when we're tanking.
I don't think any of us want to, contemplate more dilution, but eventually if years go by and there's no short squeeze, they're going to at some point need to keep on issuing shares to pay off some of the debt.
Jersey Cycler says AMC cannot even break through 7 despite the recent up move in the market. They were real small up moves though, right? We're not having a major push right now. That
we're about to release not so great Q3, and still AMC and APE are moving up 6-7% a day when the market's going up a couple percent.
I don't get to complaining.
It got oversold, especially APE, but I don't know how anybody could say that is bearish information when you're seeing multiple day after day going up 6-7%.
Yes. And that I was looking at was some of the schedules for the movies for next year and further out. There is no plans right now for the movie industry to collapse. If they did, I mean, just think about what that would mean. And I think also Hollywood is waking up to the fact, and a lot of these production companies, that going right to streaming might have been a mistake. Besides during the pandemic when you couldn't get out of the house, different story, right? But other than that, you are going to be hurting your company by not releasing to the theaters. There's just no way around that fact. And like I said, the numbers look promising. Just we had a really tough quarter. There's just no other way to put it. We had a bunch of controversial movies that 90% of the country didn't want to see. So at the fact that we just moved up a little bit in the last couple of days, I'll take that because I know what's coming. So
it is very promising to see our stock going up with everybody knowing that Q3 is not going to be that great.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Continue to say that. Continue to say that. There's just a fact that you can't get around. Let's see.
Someone's asking about cost to borrow. I'm gonna pull up the Ortex real quick while you're looking for your next question.
Someone was saying cost to borrow on GTII was 1,000%. Is that true?
Hang on.
Yep. Duplessis says, I feel really bad for those who invested just a little too much into AMC, GME, BBY, etc. Luckily, I got it okay. AMC will probably miss earnings and drop some more. Couldn't even get over 7. That's it, folks. Yeah, so that's the same thing we were just saying. Yeah, I think, well, my video won't be out till tomorrow, but I made this case, and I had a counter argument for it that I think makes complete sense. But again, you're talking to Mass, so he's going to have a bias because he holds the stock. So take it with a grain of salt.
I want everyone that is, if you're tuning into my channel, I'm going to keep on beating this message home that if you're in any momentum play, short squeeze play, whatever. Okay, if you're stuck in one right now, there's nothing you can do about that. I get it, but I want you to not load the boat in one stock. That is just, I don't care what it is. That is a risky plan. I don't care if it's GTII, if it's AMC, if it's GameStop, if it's MULN. That's too much risk in one bucket. So just, whatever you're stuck in right now, look at that as a lesson to diversify your risk. I want you to think risk diversification.
Justice for all. Good evening, man. How you doing tonight? I saw Diaz say hey to a couple of people that I haven't shouted out yet. I did get Rants in there. Old Doge, good evening. How you doing tonight? BMJJ, Headstock Harem, Tim Howard, DD, Christian Princess. Did we get? How you doing tonight? I'm just trying to get caught
good
up
night. Tindy time. Good night. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thomas B, what's going on, brother? Let's see.
Jeffrey Roche
Doc
says,
Zeno, what's up?
Jeffrey Roche says, if you're still worrying about money you invested 2 years ago, you over leverage yourself. That is exactly right. If you're that upset, you put too much money into one play. So you got a choice. You can diversify part of it. That's up to you. No one's going to judge you here, or you can keep waiting it out. I'm not going to blow literal smoke up your ass and tell you that it's going to squeeze tomorrow or November 8th. I'm telling you what I think the reality is, and this is my opinion based on what we are being told and what we know about, what I can substantiate. As far as all of the speculation, if all of that or any of it is true, whenever a squeeze happens, then the price will be far beyond what I think it will. And that is fantastic. But I don't plan my week or my days based on that. And that's not what I'm going to talk about on this channel. I hope it's true, but it's not what I'm going to talk about.
Motivational Alliance says, appreciate you guys. Are you thinking once the fourth quarter numbers are in, that's when AMC, excuse me, will make a big adjustment? It's very possible. We probably going to see some really big numbers from Q4. I have no doubt about that. Especially after the lackluster performance of Q3. People are looking for good movies again. Justice for All says it's all election hype. Let's see what happens after November 8th, right? We haven't even talked about is how are the midterms going to affect the market?
I think between now and the midterms, we could see some green days in the overall indexes, and that could be good for a lot of plays that you guys are in. Yeah. Nothing's changed in the landscape of the Fed. There's all this talk and speculation, like maybe they're going to slow down. I just don't see it. I don't see the Fed slowing down. It'd be nice if they did. That is the one thing that will set the markets back on fire. But the economic data that's coming in is not really saying the Fed. It's not really saying there's any reason for the Fed to change their position. What do you think? Are you seeing anything different?
Well, I was reading this article earlier, and it got me to start thinking, talking about how markets are always forward-looking. And when you see the housing market starting to pull back, manufacturing growth has slowed down, CEOs seem to be nervous, the banks are nervous, rising energy prices, all going on.
Layoffs.
I'm wondering if yeah. I'm wondering if maybe you might get a tune, even though we don't want it, from Powell, just to try to, negate or at least put a damper on all these things coming at once towards the economy, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to change anything, but it definitely has me thinking as far as how far are they willing to go to try to fix inflation? How serious? I don't know. I just don't know. Javi, how you doing tonight? Anything goes was saying about the Q3 earnings, making a good point. Like, there could be some big announcement at the Q3 earnings call. We don't know, right? So even though revenue might not be that great, I want to see exactly what they said here. So let's see. So Tuesday, November 4 o'clock is earnings for AMC.
Yeah, I will be live streaming that day, and I am hopeful, because I'm not expecting the quarterly numbers to be that great, that they have some extra announcement. But I'd only be speculating if I had to guess what it was. So there'll be plenty of other people doing that.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, you have till the 31st if you want to get questions in for the earnings call. So you have till Halloween to do
Everybody
that.
ask him, how are you gonna pay off the $5 billion in debt?
I know.
I'd like to see that addressed, honestly.
Yeah. He should, right? He should. He definitely should. Let's see here. Mega says, I'm already in the mindset this will play out till this time next year. Not going to hype myself up. This will require patience. Yeah, I've come to accept that fact too. I really have, because I don't see, obviously I'm not a fortune teller, but I see nothing in the next 3 to 4 months that's going to get me anywhere of where I'm looking for to sell. So
I think once Avatar comes out and we start seeing numbers from Wakanda and Avatar, you're going to see the press tune change about the movie industry. I think. By the way,
I think that's
there's a double feature you can see with Black Panther and Wakanda, I think on November 10th or 11th. So I think I'm going to buy some tickets for that.
You can see the first and Wakanda Forever. You can see the original Black Panther. Okay, back to back.
Yeah, AMC just announced it today. I retweeted it. So check out AMC's website or check my Twitter or AMC Theaters.
Dude, was I tripping the other day, or did I see Lou vs. Wall Street do a video with the thunder rolls in the background? Or was I delusional?
I don't know.
Okay. Chat, let me know if anybody else heard that. If not, it was a nightmare. It's possible it was just a nightmare, but I thought
was it Garth Brooks Thunder Rolls?
Had a dream. Yeah. It probably was a dream.
He's trying to reach back to his Texas roots.
Yeah. Right. Well,
we hang them high here. I'm just saying, our slogan is "Hang them high."
Hang them high, right? Let's see. Jesse Matthews, how you doing tonight? Jesse says, never forget how much of an anomaly the AMC are. Moving behind these memes are completely unique. We know there are still so many holding. This requires patience that many don't have. Yeah, again, it's another thing, Jesse, right? I've constantly continued to bring it up, and Tony has too, that one of our biggest things about this is the community behind it and the fortitude and willpower of all of us to hold. So,
and that is kind of a Wall Street that's a Wall Street phenomenon we've talked about a lot, like this accumulation distribution cycle in a lot of different stocks. You know, the big money buys cheap and then lets the price run up and gets people excited and get you all trapped in on the run up, and then they start selling and they take the profits and you're left bag holding till the next cycle. And many stocks have these cycles, and
Yes.
they're not always 30-day cycles, guys. Sometimes they're multi-year cycles. So I think that we are in an accumulation distribution cycle with AMC, and there'll be another one. And when the accumulation phase starts again, that some of the shorts are going to get routed out of this play, and you're going to see some big price movement. So that is my theory, not financial advice, but you see this over and over in many stocks. It's not an unknown phenomenon.
By the way, I just want to say,
those cycles take patience and time if you're stuck in the wrong end of it.
Yeah,
and that
require.
I know people get really mad at me for saying be patient. Oh, you just want this play to last forever so you can make all that YouTube money. Well, fuckers, I'm not putting out YouTube videos every day, so let's stop talking about that theory.
You don't believe that, Tony? You don't want
this, what? That I'm doing this for the money?
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of what, Adrian and Saif, thank you much, both of you, and MC, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys very much. Thanks, Adrian. And Saif, I know I missed you, Saif. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Let's see here. Shoot, I'm really far behind. Damn it. This happened to me last night too. Okay. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning, guys, because I'm just so far behind. I'm going to try to catch up. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start right here with Duplex. Actually, I'll start with Ed right here. We are waiting to sell when the price at least gets bought in. I guess you could say we are holding under one holding. Yeah, Ed. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel right now. Yep. Cash Flow in says, come on, Tony, you need a real producer.
A real producer.
Me. Matt
says
trade me in for a new model?
Matt says GameStop went debt free and still highly shorted with a few small sneezes. I mean, GameStop, like I said in a video I put out a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, GameStop's waiting on that transformational announcement from Ryan Cohen. Like they're debt free and they have money in the bank, but they're burning that money just like AMC is, and they're losing money every quarter just like AMC is. The advantage GameStop has is they don't have debt, but the story is exactly the same: burning cash, losing money. So at some point, GameStop keeps on promising without providing any guidance. We're working on something. Stay tuned. And I think that they are. And that's why I own GameStop. I have GameStop. I just bought some more a couple days ago at $24.25, if you watch that video. But I still consider it a speculative play because until we know what the plan is, it's speculation on them delivering a plan. We all know the brick and mortar model and heavy inventory model, and that games are being sold via download, not in stores. That model needs some changing, and that's what we need to hear from Ryan Cohen. What are they going to do to transform the company? That's why it's still shorted.
Yeah,
they might be debt free, but they're losing money and they're burning cash. But as soon as a good news announcement comes, if one comes, GameStop can have a run.
I will say this: just in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that there's a lot of when I'm searching for certain things, GameStop, their website, for their digital store comes up. It's been coming up a lot as a top search thing when I've looked for stand-up video games, like the tall ones that you play. Sometimes when I'm doing searches for those, the first thing that's coming up now is GameStop's mobile website.
Really,
which is good. Yeah, I like to see that. Yeah,
maybe that's why they need that big warehouse for all those stand-up games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, exactly.
it's a niche market that not that many people are in, and they could be a contender in that, but it's kind of a niche market.
Yeah, it's a very niche market. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Justin needs help, Tony. He just moved to Victoria, Texas, and he says there is nothing to do there. Can you help him out?
Victoria, remind me, where is Victoria?
You talking to a kid from Boston?
I'm trying to remember where on the map. I mean, Texas is damn near as big as the whole United States. I have not been to Victoria.
Let's see. Does this look familiar to you at all? I'll show you where it is. Let me share my screen with you. How about this? Does that look familiar?
2 hours south of Austin. Is it where that green dot is, Mass?
Yes, on the right. Yeah, yep.
Oh man, that's kind of a rough. I mean, yeah, there's not much going on over there.
No. What's the biggest? Is San Antonio the biggest city close to it?
Yeah. You got San Antonio to the northwest, you got Houston in the northeast, but it's the same amount of drive. And you got the beach in the summer months, that could be fun, but in Victoria, I really don't know. I have not been to Victoria. I don't know what kind of nightlife they have.
All right. Sorry, Justin.
I'd be spending my weekends in San Antonio if I lived in Victoria.
There you go. There's your answer. That's a good one. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hoopstat OC says AMC brand credit card will make them a shitload of money. Lots of loyal apes will charge to their heart's content to support their community. Has there been any word on that when that's you could apply for that? I haven't seen anything email from them. I haven't got an email from them about that. I'm surprised.
I was reviewing some of Adam Aaron's comments on that. They were saying that they were going to do a co-branded credit card in 2023, but I've also heard people on space calls and Twitter talking about it. And I think there's some misunderstanding that AMC is somehow going to become a bank and start loaning people money for credit cards. We're not going to be a bank, guys. A co-branded credit card is going to be like AMC Citibank. We're going to have our name on a card as we're going to get a 0.5% or something. I don't know. I haven't looked into co-branded cards, but we'll get a small kicker for it being our card. I think that people are overestimating the impact of a co-branded card. The bank is going to get the interest. AMC will get a little kickback. So let's just bring that back to reality. And I'd urge you all to Google how much does a company make on a co-branded card to see how that works. But for sure, we're not going to be the bank.
Right. You're talking about nominal fees. Nominal fees I'll be able to collect from that. It's almost a licensing fee.
I'm busy looking into popcorn, but co-branded cards is next on my list. So.
River Driver 666 says they are called arcade games. Thank you, River Driver. It's been a while since I've been in an arcade. Let's see. He says you guys want to hang out a stand-up game place. Mass, get your shit together, bro. Let's see. San Antonio.
When I was in high school, that was back when arcades were like the thing. And I used to ride my bicycle every day after like 8th grade or whatever down to the local arcade and spend all my allowance playing Donkey Kong and Missile Command and whatever else was popular back then, Pac-Man,
Mortal Kombat.
I have a lot of good memories of arcade days, as we call them now, stand-up games.
Yeah, me too. Lynn says that the Patriots rookie QB is from Victoria. Yeah, that's correct.
What is?
The young rookie quarterback for the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
From down there. Yeah. Let's see. G Immortal says Mass Tony By the way, Alan, how you doing tonight? He says, any thoughts on the new move regarding PFOF to Europe? Thanks. PFOF to, so what are they? So now on certain European exchanges, they're going to allow PFOF now?
I saw a headline. I haven't read the article that there was a proposal to allow PFOF in Europe. I haven't read the article, so I can't really comment on it.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like they're looking to open up payment for order flow. Reported by Bloomberg here. SEC's final stance is expected to be published in the next coming months. Huh. Wow. So while we're telling him and he knows it should be banned, he's contemplating to go through for Europe. When he admitted to Jon Stewart, like, yeah, we know payment for order flow is bad for retail. Orders through brokers is a bad idea. Unbelievable.
Birdman has a question. Would AMC monthly?
It's wrong.
Birdman's asking, would AMC monthly memberships be profitable, like having a Netflix account? I mean, we have the Stubs monthly memberships, right? I don't know if you mean something different than that, but like I'm a A-list member, whatever the top tier. I tried a couple of the different tiers out, and I'm in the top one now. Just for myself, I'd pay for Scarlett too, but she doesn't always like going to as many movies as I do, so I just pay for her ticket. But I question, I haven't really looked into, like, does AMC, is that a lost leader? Because are they hoping that you don't go see 3 movies a week? Are they hoping to catch up for it on concessions? I don't really know what the cost benefit analysis is on that.
If they make it up on the back end. Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's what
I always
assume,
try.
Right? Yeah.
I try and go there hungry, so I spend my money on concessions. So even if I got the ticket for free, I'm contributing something.
Joel, I can remember days I would go out at like midnight for a jog just so I could get to the arcade to play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat by myself. No one else.
I was never a big Mortal Kombat player. I see some people saying Frogger, Galaga. Yes, I played those. Space Invaders. I remember the very first games at the bowling alley before arcades really became a thing. When I was a kid, I was in a kids bowling alley league. And the very first games I remember was football with little X's and O's, and each opponent had a trackball.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, that was the original, one of the original stand-up arcade games. And then Missile Command, I remember that. And Asteroids. Yes. Asteroids with that, the stick figures. The stick figure Asteroids. Those are the 3 first games I remember. And the one I can remember being excited about buying on our Atari 2600 was Space Invaders. Because, oh, wow, we got the real arcade game at home.
Play that shit at home, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Yep. Birdman, did you get Birdman's question about AMC monthly memberships to be profitable?
Yeah, that was one. I don't know. We have the Stubs monthly memberships. I want to do a little digging to see like how much that's been growing since they started it. Like, is it a growing program? But I also don't know what the cost benefit is, because they still got to, I'm assuming they still got to pay the studio a fee for the viewing, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So is it kind of like a gym membership where they're hoping you don't show up for your 3 times a week? And they're hoping that you spend money on concessions where they absolutely kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would make the most sense to me, but that's, that's a kind of a lame,
I'm pretty
kind of a lame answer.
I'm pretty sure, but I don't know that they've gamed it out where it's probably a break even on the monthly memberships. And then they hope to make the profit on concessions.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yep. Let's see. Alan says, great, Mass. Thanks. Did you email again? Oh, okay. I'll throw it up in
Centipede. Yeah, I forgot about Centipede.
Remember that too, yeah. I'll throw it up in the chat. Yep.
Day and Night Hero says, what do you guys think about the SPY? I'm trying to not make SPY predictions. I know there's channels that talk about that every day, and they're doing options on the SPY, but it's been such a ping pong on the SPY based on economic news. And sometimes you can't even predict. One day it's going to go up and the next day it's going to go down. I'm not trying to make predictions on the SPY. I'm not trading the SPY right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. You see Fear of God's T? You want to read that? Fear of God 777?
Fear of God. Thanks for all the time y'all put in and for dealing with all the idiotic nonsense. There has been a bit of that, hasn't there? Woo. Coughed so hard my earpiece came out.
Bless you. Good.
Sometimes that cigar smoke like creeps right up your nostrils.
Is that just that's tickling you to make you sneeze? The smoke, the thickness of it. Jeez. What are you smoking, by the way?
There's no band on this one. I forget. It was on the wrapper.
Okay.
It was on the wrapper that I threw away. It was something decent.
Gotcha.
Put the Thug Life shades on. Massalorian, I need to send you a pair of these.
Thug Life shades? Oh, where did you get those? You haven't had those on before, I don't think. No, I've never seen those. Where did you get those?
You weren't on the live stream with me when I had these on?
Oh no. No, you did a couple different hats, never the glasses. Never seen the glasses, just the hats. I like that. Looks good. Looks good.
Jason W says, are you still acquiring more AMC shares? I can't speak for Massalorian, Jason, but I've been adding ape only since August 4th.
Same. Since August 31st, I've only bought ape.
The lower it drops, the more quantity I buy. So I'm averaging down in larger and larger quantities. I had a meeting the morning it hit $1.50, and I thought I had a good till cancel entered, and I did not. So I missed picking it up at $1.50, but you know, I'm in the green on a good portion of the new ape shares that I've added.
And it's still cheap right now. You're not too late. Address the Dan Man question 9227. Are you cool with that or what?
Where is it, on your chat or mine?
It's on yours. Yeah, yours.
Let me find it. Was it before or after Fear of God? Dan Man.
After. Just right after. While waiting, Rage TV, do I think does anyone will miss earnings? I think a lot of companies are going to miss earnings this last quarter. I just have a bad feeling all around, but this quarter I think the numbers are going to be down. Good.
Can you type your question in again? Because I don't see it.
Let me see if I can just pull it up. Hold up.
Muskie Doge said, "Heard every time the Phillies win,
I hate this.
There's a depression." I saw someone tweet that out too. Well, Adam Aaron talked about the FTDs. Maybe if someone asked him a question, otherwise I doubt it.
Tampa Bay Buck, I got you. I got you, Tampa Bay Buck. I got a whole new job ready to go. So filled up a Mason job this morning. Let's see here. Oh man, this can't be real. Is this real? This breaking news just came up. Wow.
He did lose his Adidas
That
contract. I
sucks.
don't know about Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't know what Chuck E.
He's
Cheese
no
is.
longer a billionaire.
That's a shame.
1796 Patriot says, where did Angelina go? I've seen her around a couple days ago. I am wondering what happened to Grandpa Barney. Someone said he was in someone said he was in Casey Shaw's chat though. So
yeah, I sent somebody an email about that earlier just to double check. I know you caught that last one, Doc. Apple is a $2.5 trillion market cap. So if it misses, this is an interesting point. Apple's has a 2.5 trillion market cap. So if it misses along with Amazon, yeah, Rage TV, you would have to imagine, right? That would not be good. It would probably drag some other things with it, including AMC. Ellie says, the big question is whether or not the majority will vote to convert APE to AMC in the future. If yes, then buying APE is the way to go, much cheaper. And yeah, so I mean, you're bargaining, or you're not bargaining. You are taking on the risk or the assumption that that's going to happen. And if you believe that, then, you know, you don't need much more conviction than that. Right now, it's at a steal then, if that becomes the case, Ellie, right? Barry Electronics, how you doing tonight, man? Good evening. Danny House, what's up, Danny R? I saw Doc. So I'll make sure I get some shout outs here. Tampa Bay Buckeye, I saw in the chat. What's going on, my friend? Dan Baby God, Honey Horse. GFam, what's up, GFam? Make sure. Doug plays guitar. Jason W. Doge. Cash flowing, we got. Annie, I know we already shouted Annie. Annie, we got you, right? Yes, that is his question.
all right, Dan's question is, why did you not ever mention you were an actor? I've mentioned that numerous times. Anyone who regularly watches my channel, Massalorian, I've talked about being an actor many, many times as part of my love for AMC stock. It's been 10 years. I've never been paid to do an acting gig. I stopped doing it because it's a huge commitment of time to get started doing acting. I took in my 40s some adult community classes. You know, when you go in the evenings down to your local theater and take some classes, just like learning piano when you're 40. Or I took dancing lessons also. You're going to hold that against me? I'm not the type of person that is likes making myself the center of attention. So it was kind of a personal growth thing in my 40s once I had time after corporate life just to kind of like stretch personal development. In fact, the first time I went to an audition, I wanted to turn around the entire time and almost threw up in my car. I was so nervous about having to perform in front of a closed room of people. But
nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's fucking nerve-wracking. But I did a few small movies. I was in a couple of TV shows back when Austin was hopping, and then they changed the tax benefits for production companies, so we don't have that much going on here anymore. But ultimately, I stopped doing it just from a use of my time thing. You know, to build up your resume, you got to do a lot of free gigs, and a lot of the directors are doing free gigs, and the makeup people and everybody. You guys, if you've ever done this, you know what I'm talking about. This is not anything new. It's a lot of time. I was spending 20 to 30 hours a week not getting paid, zero. And and then half the time the directors wouldn't finish the project, which was like very deflating. Like you're putting in all this volunteer work to build up your reel and your a clip. A couple of them did. I've had a couple of good things and a couple not so good. And I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could get paid for it, but I haven't done anything in 7, 8, 9. I think when I met Scarlett 7 or 8 years ago, I was doing my last movie, and that one also did not get finished. But I enjoy it. I mean, would you be mad at a gamer who's doing videos on GameStop? Ask yourself that question.
There you go.
Why are you mad at someone that likes movies covering AMC? Why aren't there more actors talking about the theater companies?
Yeah, or how about a film?
I don't
A person that's a
understand.
film major, you know,
I have
with a film
never,
school.
I've never hidden this. This is just paranoid, idiotic people talking shit because they're jealous or stupid. I've talked about this many, many times. In fact, all the compliments that I've gotten from you guys that support this channel on the stuff that you have seen, thanks to the haters, made me think maybe I should start doing this again. It's a bear market. I got a little bit of free time. Maybe I should go back and do some auditions again. But it's a lot of work, guys. When you don't have an agent, I never had an agent. Everything is my own work. Finding gigs, going to auditions, getting turned down for 19 out of 20 of them. And then finally you land a gig, and then you go do it for free for a week, and then they don't finish the fucking project. It's irritating. I took dance lessons too. So, if I ever cover a dancing company, that, by the way, guys, if you're single and you want to meet women, go take some dance lessons. That's some free advice for you. It's like you have an unfair advantage, especially if you're a little bit older like I am. I lost out to Harold Lloyd many times. He was my nemesis back in the day, Dan. Clark says, Julie and I want to see your movies. I might put my favorite one up just on my channel. I'm waiting for all the haters to expose themselves. I always told Scarlett a couple of years ago, the paranoid freaks, the cyber stalkers, will eventually reveal themselves. The cyber stalkers, and you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. These people that are lying, like Tony Denaro is not married. His wife is an actor. For anyone who's saying that, I will meet you in a mutually agreed to space. You bring whatever money you're willing to lose, and we'll show you the rings and the marriage license. I'm willing to put down 100,000. What do you got? Otherwise, stop talking your shit, because I'm tired of it. It's just ridiculous. All I can say is these people, it's like a pathetic grasp for attention, and they're not going to get it from me. You're going to be blocked, and you're just a thought. Bill A says, what kind of dance lessons? Well, in Texas, country western dance lessons are what pays off. But if you're an older gentleman, West Coast swing is good. Waltz is good. There are less opportunities to use those. Now I got cigar smoke in my eyes. Birdman says, I learned a two-step 7 years ago, changed my life, never met many white girls who like Mexican dudes. Where do you meet hot redheads? Funny story, Matt. I met Scarlett through dancing, as well as a dozen of my last girlfriends before her, or maybe 20. I don't know. Doc Zeno says East Coast swing is very versatile. East Coast swing is also a good one. Zydeco is a good guess, I guess, if you're in the right place where they play Zydeco. Bachata and salsa also globally, I can tell you, especially guys, if you travel to Europe or Asia, salsa or bachata, you don't even need to know the language. They will lay down the red carpet for you, the ladies. It's the secret weapon you wish you knew about when you were young.
Sorry, that had to be addressed. My apologies. I will catch up to the chat right now. Oh boy.
Merengue. Yeah, merengue is a good way to start. Danny R. It took me, I did take salsa and bachata lessons. Merengue is very easy to learn. Bachata is very easy to learn. What else am I? There's one other one that's hot right now. Give me a second, I'll think of it. But salsa, it took me a good 6 months to where I could. This is how bad I was at dancing years ago. It took me 6 months of listening to salsa music every day before I could finally catch the rhythm. And then it was like a switch flips in your head. And then it's just like a piece of cake. If you were born growing up around salsa music, that might sound ridiculous, but as a white boy, I could not catch the rhythm of salsa. And I just listened to it every day. And I went to lessons every week. And then one day, boom.
It just came to you. You got it.
And one day I got it. And single ladies and gentlemen, there is a salsa cruise every year out of Miami and another one out of LA. I'm telling you right now, do not go if you're in a relationship, but if you are single, it's the best 4 days of your life.
Well, I was gone. Baptist asked a question, said, if your holding goes to OTC, can you still DCA?
If you're what?
If your holding goes to OTC, can you still DCA?
If your holding goes to OTC, can you still dollar cost average?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you couldn't.
Yeah,
oh,
that's interesting.
Kizomba. Kizomba was the other one I was trying to think of. Kizomba.
Doxino says, don't know why people are having the issue with Tony having done some acting. Yeah, it's very strange. He says he doesn't understand what the big deal is about Tony doing acting. Yeah, I agree with you, Doc. Yeah.
There's paranoid idiots, that's why. And they don't have anything better to talk about. They don't provide any value to the community, so they got to spend their entire day hating on other people.
I mean, if Tony's a crisis actor, then I'm an accomplice to this.
I'm the worst crisis actor ever.
I'm just as effed.
I'm supporting the company, telling you to stay in the play, how much I believe in it. Certainly not earning my keep if I'm being paid to hate on AMC.
Hatu, how you doing tonight? Hatu said if AMC is a successful company, sooner or later they will have to cover, right? Yes. I mean, their whole sentiment in the first place for going short was because they didn't think they were going to be successful anymore, right? So, let's see. Skidmark Production says, my daughter is on the set with Paramount, and my uncle was a prop master for CSI for almost 12 years. I didn't know CSI had his channel that long. But that's cool. That's awesome. Let's see.
She's talking about the TV show. The TV show, CSI.
Crime scene investigation. Oh, CSI. Right. What time is it? Getting late here. Let's see. Danny R. Let me pull up
Fear of
Danny's
God says, I dated 3 girls at a job once, one on every shift. That is risky.
Jay says, Tony and Mass movie of all time. You can do one movie from each genre if you want. Just greatest overall. My favorite movie of all time is probably Aliens, the second one. What's yours, Steve?
I don't know. If I could be in any movie that I would want to be in, it would be one of the Mission Impossible series, just because those look like a blast.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that it's my favorite movie of all time.
Right. And I would say the same thing. I've seen Aliens more than any other movie in my life. So that's probably why I came up with that just top of my head. Clark says, Julie and I want to see your dance moves, Tony. You're going to have to do a video on it at some point.
On what? Oh, dance moves?
On your dancing. Yes.
There might be, we might have some personal videos somewhere. Maybe I should put the wedding dance video up. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, of course.
There you go. Yeah. Prove both points, right?
Oh, they were just wearing costumes. That's not a real wedding.
That was on set.
It's a fake band. It's a green screen.
Yeah, they're on a green screen. Doug Plays Guitar says, I've been watching Tony from the very beginning of his Twitter and YouTube. First, I'm hearing of the acting, but who cares? Yeah, and I've said before, guys, the first time me and Tony ever talked, we talked about our experience. So
that was something like you have film and journalism experience, and we talked about my acting experience and your film experience. Like, this is not any new news other than people that don't watch my channel every day.
Yeah. I remember that first time we talked, I remember telling you that I moved out to LA because, a lot of my family works in the movie industry. That was one of my big reasons for going out there. Was having that in, right? So, let's see. Hold on one sec here. 24 The Money says, Elon will fake an illness to delay Twitter deal close. Make those puts a print. Yeah, what's going on with that? Do you know what the latest update is with that? Curious. Someone was saying to me earlier today that I need to take more advantage of social media. And you know my thing about Twitter and how I feel about all that nonsense. But, if Elon was to take it over, I would definitely use it more, right? I just don't use it now because I don't like what they represent. So I don't want to give them the airtime, But I'm going to try to, hopefully once this officially takes place, to try to use it more. Let's see. Birdman says, yeah, now 3 baby mamas and 2 of them are white, all thanks to dancing. Birdman says. You must be one hell of a dancer, Birdman. Boy. That's funny. Double says, unfortunately, there are some real screwed up people in this world. Cannot be happy when someone tries to better themselves. It's a joke. Yeah, I don't want to see anybody holding anybody else down. It's not good. Not good. Margaret says, my trade restrictions are lifted, ready to trade tomorrow. Wish me luck. Margaret, good luck. Congratulations on that. That's good. That's good. Mike, thanks. Good to be back. I had to take care of some issues going on in the background before it leads to violence. Let's see. Rand says, aha, popped up into silence by his modders. I'm surprised they even let me get in there to comment. Apparently.
I'm surprised he has mods.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, yeah.
What's up, Pantheon?
Interesting. Is it the real Pantheon?
I think so. Looks like it.
All right. Adrian can trick us. He'll get like some fake Pantheon in there. Say it's his birthday, and he got married earlier in the afternoon. Oh boy.
If it's the
Let's
real Pantheon, tell me
see.
something that I DM'd you recently so I can give you a wrench, and then we'll know that it's not a fake account.
Yeah, Pantheon. When was the last time I sent you an email? Humble Heart Mindful Knowledge says Tony Cigar in the hand stream with the Massalorian, not phased by the clowns because I got tears on. There you go. There you go. That's what I like to hear. Walker's World says, hey, Massive, the market crashes. Do you guys see that affecting memes and making them rise? It depends, right? Yes, it could. A market crash could bring that on. It depends if it's going to cause smaller brokers who might be over leveraged with AMC and maybe to have to close out. And those calls keep coming for other people who are vulnerable. And that could be what, right? So, yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. But for me, this now and get it out of the way. For me personally, unless something drastic happens in the next 6 to 8 months, whether it be a crash or a black swan event or something, a nuclear or something, then all bets are off. And, I just want to be held responsible for that if something like that does happen. Because I have maniacal people right now in the administration who have loose lips and constantly want to stoke the fires of war for some reason. Don't know why. Six Sun says, Tony, have you ever danced to La Landaba? Is that a dance
La
I've never heard of?
Lambada. I don't think I've danced to the Lambada. That was like when I was in high school.
Yeah, that's a dirty dance, right? That's a dirty.
But if
dance.
you want to see the current dirty dancing, just Google Kizomba, Kizomba.
Okay.
Guaranteed panty dropper.
All right. Adrian says mass win lottos. If we don't squeeze before the end of the year, probably be next summer when D'Angelo's does our surf and turf again. Steak and cheese and a lobster roll. But hopefully it'll be before that, Adrian, my friend. I hope so. Just Got You Crazy says, always wanted to do some acting. I think it would fit in as the token Filipino guy. Juicy Got You Crazy. They always need a Filipino guy stand in, right? I'm sure. You should be on every set, man. Ready to go. Let's see. Clark says, Julie and I just got back from Florida. Both of us, we may never have had that paradise life unless we get the short squeeze. Yeah, man, there's a lot of hopes and dreams hanging on this. That's for sure. No doubt about it. And, the biggest thing for me at this point now is all of the bullshit we've dealt with up to this point that we're still dealing with. There's still ridiculous videos coming out every day. Ridiculous. Now, they're not as prevalent as they should be, but they're still out there. That people's emotions are still going nuts. Bothers me. But Clark, just don't give up hope yet. This ain't over yet. Chris Hayden says, I would like to see AMC have a movie review part of the website. That would be a good thing to do, right? Especially on Investor Connect and having Stubbs members be able to go in. Even if they had a huge forum where you could comment on everything. It's a good idea. Good idea. GR says, this guy, avid trader, just come across him. Is he telling everyone to the AMC that it's dead? What's up with that? GR, I don't know. Do you know much about avid trader, Tony?
I'm aware of him. I don't know that I've seen enough of his tweets to comment. What just came across, he's telling everyone to lose AMC, that it's dead. Yeah. My general sense of him, he was not someone to listen to, but I don't follow him. I only follow people that I think I can learn something from. So
right.
I can't comment because I don't know all of his tweets.
Yep. Danny says, Tony, you didn't block your stream. Did you forget or just don't care anymore? No, Tony knows that never has monetized videos, so it doesn't matter.
I'm doing a little I'm doing a little test tonight. So I had the cigar. Now I'm doing the vape. We'll see if they demonetize me or not.
Yeah, mine's automatic. So we'll see if it happens to Tony. Let's see here. People talk about Shawshank Redemption. By the way, someone was saying up earlier, I was talking about AMC Bigums and KC Shaw, that they were 100% legit. And the comments came back, but I don't know if we didn't mention that or somehow that came off wrong. But I think we would both second that opinion for whoever was talking about that. I just remembered to say that. How's your knee doing, by the way, T?
Not good.
No, really?
Nope. I mean,
no,
still painful.
That's crazy. Jeez. Boy. All right. Danny R says, I won't get too into its personal life. Danny R says, wow, not many sequels are better than the first movie. Aliens 2 is good as well as Terminator 2, but most sequels stink. Godfather 2?
The first one was Alien. The first one was Alien, right?
Yes.
And the second one was Aliens.
Yes, that's my favorite, Aliens.
I can remember seeing Aliens in the movie theater, and it was one of the movies that stands out in memory as a freaking scary movie.
Awesome. Great action, great storyline. Sigourney Weaver, they had Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn as Hicks. I mean, it was just and I always go back to this. My favorite character in Aliens was the Spanish girl who had the biggest gun, right? She was buff. She was doing pull-ups in the beginning when they first came out of the cryo sleep. And I'm like, dude, I like this chick. And she's been my favorite character ever since. It's never changed my mind on it about that. Vasquez is my girl. She was the most bad of the whole damn movie. Maybe besides Ripley. Let's see. Tampa Bay Buckeye says, just for you, Massa Aliens, game over, man. Game over. 4 more weeks and out. Now I'm gonna bite on. Oh man, I could quote that.
Doc Zeno has a question for you. Doc Zeno has a question for you. What would Lou
Pantheon
want
is in the
with
chat.
circus tent canvas?
Let me see. I just want to say what's up to Pantheon for sure. It's a real Pantheon.
I don't even know what the context of that is.
Doc Zeno? Oh, geez. I'm way behind the chat again. What the hell's going on? Fuck. All right. Hang on, Doc.
Sanchez. Yeah, that was her name. Her character.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I see it. Vasquez, not Sanchez. Vasquez.
Vasquez?
Yeah, she was Vasquez. Yeah, Vasquez. Yep. Yeah, Vasquez. Remember they weren't allowed to have ammo. They couldn't shoot their rounds off because they were under some heat reactor. So they could only use small arms, flamethrowers, and shotguns. And the best line ever, the guy's like, what the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language? I love that line. I think that was from one of the guys that dies early. I think I just
oh my gosh, I just pulled up her current picture. Private Vasquez, Jeanette Goldstein. She wasn't even Spanish.
Goldstein, yeah. No, I think she's Jewish. Yeah, she was in T2 too. She was in Terminator 2.
Yeah, don't look up her current picture.
Well, yeah, that was 86 that movie came out, right? She's she's an older woman right now, yeah. But she was the most badass, I think, in the whole movie. Okay, Doc says, Massalorian, you have my riddle. What would Lou want with circus tent canvas? Circus tent canvas. I don't know, Doc. What? completely lost where you're going with this. Circus tent canvas. Someone's gonna have to tell me. Andrew says, "Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. The dishes are done." Backyard Boogie. Above all, while defending our own nuclear powers, must avert those confrontations which bring an adversary to a choice of either a humiliating retreat or a nuclear war. Jay, man, is it surprising to you at all right now the way that the way people are just freely throwing around words, especially? Here's my. I just gotta say this real quick. My biggest concern right now is, and I see Zelensky getting desperate as he sees the elections and the numbers that are coming back from the pre-polls. And I'm wondering if he's going to lose Congress. And he's nervous about some type of preemptive action right now to make sure that we get locked into this and there's no escape for the U.S. to get out, right? Because if you're talking about that, there's a possibility that it could get shot down, right? I mean, out of the whatever it was, 20% of people who voted not to continue funding Ukraine, they were looking. So, well, there's a couple Democrats as well, but yeah, I wonder if that's having an effect right now on Ukraine's, mental state when it comes to the next couple of weeks of wanting to get something done before there's a possibility that the country starts to lose interest, and their representatives do as well. I mean, I know I talked about this last night. You weren't on, Tony, but I don't know how AOC went into another town hall meeting the next day after she got her shit called like that. Going in saying that she was going to be something different and progressive and bringing it into wars, and yet she's voted for all of this money to go across while her constituents, and then she has the nerve to sit there and dance while they're chanting to throw her out. I'm like, man, politics has definitely changed. Definitely change. Here's CB again. No politics talk. Again, CB. I don't think you're getting it. You didn't listen to Gary Gensler, did you? You didn't listen to Gary Gensler. The only way we fix the market is through Congress. They're the only ones that can make the rules and enforce them. Otherwise, these hands are tied. There's too much money being donated to these politicians in order for them to care about your payment for order flow or fucking taking away the buy button from you when a stock starts to run in a short squeeze. So if you don't like seeing that happen, what?
I hope you guys spend the next couple of weeks calling your congressional candidates and asking their positions on this stuff, because it is key. And no one is immune. No one is forgiven. Everyone should be suspect, Democrats and Republicans, but you should call up whoever you're voting for, call their office and ask them their position on transparency in the markets and payment for order flow, and see if they have a position.
Yeah. And ask them about term limits too. Because that's a huge problem that we have. Is the same people getting voted in over and over and over again with the same money from the same donors to continue to get their agendas through and what's benefiting them the most. So as much as everyone wants to sit there and say politics, you can't, the two go hand in hand. You can't separate the two. They are one and the same. So if you want to change the market, you're going to have to change the politicians. Until then, we can sit on here and talk movies and all kinds of other stuff. Other than that, the bitching about not talking about politics, unfortunately, it's inescapable for us because we're retail investors. We're not hedge funds. We're not donating tens of millions of dollars to their campaigns. So if you really want change, then we have to make the change and start at the top, right? Broke Ape says, my whole district is under indictment. What do I do then?
Are you in Chicago or what?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's so crazy. Like, half of them are corrupt. I mean, and we just sit back and are like, oh, okay, so we shouldn't talk about this. Let's just talk about the stock market.
I don't think, I don't want to get big into favoring one political party over the other. That's, finance talk is about what affects your money.
They both suck.
But yes, they all suck, and politics definitely affects the decisions that are being made on Wall Street because they are funding these fucking politicians. Even Ron DeSantis, as much as I like him as a potential candidate,
Same story.
I'm not really
Yep.
happy that he's taking big time donations from Ken Griffin. Like nobody is above reproach. You should hold them all
No.
accountable.
I don't give a shit what party they're in. They both suck. Neither one of them represents us. Just remember that. Oh, I hate getting upset about this. It's about to bother me after a while. Oh, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just want to throw my hands up and be like, maybe we're not going to be able to change this thing. Just it can't be talked about sometimes, or because people just want to keep their head in the sand and imagine everything's okay. And, it's just the buck stops with Gary Gensler and he's really letting us down. Not really. Not really.
Hey, Clark, if I'm not mistaken, you guys in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ken Griffin his name is being talked about. Am I right in this? As a potential Treasury Secretary if DeSantis gets elected? It was something that egregious. Can you imagine?
Tony, please
that?
stop talking about politics, please.
This is important stuff for everybody to know and to hold these people accountable and to make your voice heard. I already tweeted Ron DeSantis for all the good
Griffin
that
went
did.
back to DeSantis over Trump. Yeah, here we go. Trump with a brain, says Ken Griffin. Ron DeSantis is Trump with a brain. He's just unloaded $140 million into his war chest. So, yeah, but let's not talk about politics, though, right, guys? Let's not do that. That's it.
This is important stuff for you guys to know.
What a waste of time. Ken Griffin is
did,
backing Ron DeSantis for president. Let's not talk about that.
Clark said they didn't know about that. I mean, this is important information for you guys to know. I don't care who the candidate is or what party. If they're getting in bed with the devil, you fucking need to know about it. The biggest problem that Americans have is not wanting to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about it on a political channel, what your political views are, or, if you support, everyone using the same bathroom. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Abortion, you're entitled to your own views. But when it comes to our money, I will talk about that. Massalorian, did you freeze up?
No, I'm thinking. What I want to say next.
Moving on. We need a new topic. We're trying to answer your questions, not lead it with our thoughts.
DeSantis tapped donors Griffin, Tudor, Jones. Yeah. Not important though. Yeah, let's move something else. No, I don't think me and Tony are button heads. I think Tony understands it. He doesn't want to get involved in the same way that I do, and I understand that, right? It's not very profitable to get to the subject matter, and it costs you, right? They're gonna put the screws to you if you want to go against their policies. They continue to put, I mean, look at what we're talking about right now. We're talking about making Ken Griffin the Secretary of the Treasury.
It's like some Game of Thrones shit. He's going to be the master of coin, the guy that's the most grifter, the most corrupt. Can it be the master of coin?
I know.
Can't make this shit up.
Master of coin. I know. Common sense investor. No talking about politics, man. Come on. CSI. Damn it. Yeah, I just, especially seeing Yellen have to resign from the Federal Reserve, but then been brought in back under Biden as Secretary of the Treasury. Like she's gonna come back and make up for her mistakes. As she tells us all inflation's transitory for a year, and then saying, I made a mistake. No shit.
Hey,
Oh man.
Massalorian, are you watching House of the Dragon? Because the season finale was hands down the best fucking episode yet.
So I watched the first episode and I waited for the last one to come out and I'm gonna binge them. Yeah, so I've seen only the first episode.
Oh my gosh.
The last episode was awesome.
I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody, but
okay, good. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Were you talking about a treasury buyback, Tony?
no.
About the treasury buyback, says Milton Coins. Tell us more about the treasury buyback. Did I say
I think
that?
he's talking about I think he's talking about repos and reverse repos.
Oh, the reverse repos. Yeah, I saw someone comment about that earlier. They're going pretty nuts, huh? The reverse repos?
I don't think that the treasury is reducing to the extent that they said they were, but I mean what are we going to do?
Do you think if Powell changes his tune the next couple of weeks that the market will really take off from that? From
If
him
Powell
negating?
if Powell changes direction on hiking interest rates, that will set the markets on fire temporarily. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. GC Got You Crazy says, how much do you think that the currency crisis going on globally is currently affecting the market? Immensely. Every investor out there around the world is keeping an eye on what's going on. Kind of getting back to my point that I talked about a couple of videos ago in that bullish case scenario for the stock exchange in the United States. That guy's right. If we see a lot of collapses over the winter, then you will see money flow into the dollar. Until the petrodollar is no longer the reserve currency for commodities, you'll continue to see money being pumped into it, especially if we're seeing other governments fail and other currencies fail. But yeah, that's got a lot to do with it. Big time. Rand says, yeah, that's the wrong master of coin. The Wario of currency.
Dark Latin said he got burned on Game of Thrones season finale, and I'm right there with you.
The original Game of Thrones?
The way the whole series ended, it was kind of upsetting. I get it. But House of Dragons, so far in season 1, is worth giving it another shot.
I'll give Game of Thrones this. Denaro said she was going to break the wheel. She smashed it up. In the last episode, that's for sure. She broke that wheel real quick. Adrian says, "Mass." Oh man!
Do you know they filmed the Dallas reboot here in Austin?
The Dallas reboot. Oh, they did. They filmed it in Austin. Really? Okay, the one just came out like 2 years ago.
There was a casting call. They needed background dancers, and a lot of my friends were in that TV series. But by that point,
cool.
this was a couple of years ago. By that point, I was kind of burned out on doing free gigs.
Yeah, it gets old quick, right?
Yeah.
Our Badgelio says, do you feel the market is near the bottom or another 20-30% more? What do you think about this, T? This is a good thing to debate. What's your thoughts on this?
I think that if we continue to raise interest rates and if the real estate market crashes or China crashes or the UK, yes, there could be another 20 or 30% drop. We're on the precipice. We're not out of the woods by any means.
Yeah.
Need to send Denaris to Citadel. Burn it down. Bones and ash.
Burn it.
Danny R says, Mass, okay, let's stop talking about politics and getting upset. And speaking of yelling, oh, man. Deborah says, Deborah, how you doing tonight? Deborah says, they just have to print more money, so I'm thinking crash might be iffy due to this government won't allow it. Yeah, man, eventually at some point, Deborah, though, they got to stop printing that money, right? At what point are they going to stop is the problem. When is that going to happen?
What is John's question? We haven't done the math on what?
Let me see.
On the reverse repos? I look at the charts like once a quarter. This is not reverse repos is not the basis of my channel. You got Boss Blunts and Bigums covering that.
Was this the question you were talking about? John Diamond said, so how quickly do we need a buyout before bankruptcy? Can't Mudrick make another backdoor deal to save AMC?
Oh,
is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. He did a follow-up question. Let me see. Do we need a buyout before bankruptcy?
We don't want Mudrick back involved with AMC again, do we?
I can't get behind any of that statement. AMC's got plenty of money in the bank.
Yeah. There's no reason to go to Mudrick for anything right now.
If we're a year from now and not by then in a profitable quarter and we've burned through all of our cash, look, 425 million APE is out there to raise more cash. We don't know how much they've raised, if any. It's too early to speculate, but I think it's safe to say that we have plenty of cash. There's no immediate, by immediate, I mean next 12 to 24 months, no immediate risk of bankruptcy. It's an evolving play, guys. We got popcorn coming online. We got more movies coming out next year. We got more and more people every quarter going to the movies. You can't make a judgment based on October of 2022 where we're going to be a year from now, unless all I see on the charts is it's getting better and better. I'm not in the camp that bankruptcy is inevitable. I am in the camp that debt is something that needs to be addressed at some point. And as we said at the beginning of this live stream, we talked about it for a long time. I've got questions about that, and those questions need to be answered. Go back and watch the beginning of the live stream. But bankruptcy, no, not on the table in the near term. Absolutely
not for AMC. No, not for AMC. Birdman said, do you all think Saudi Arabia wanting to join BRICS will be the end of the U.S. dollar? That could be the end of the petrodollar. The U.S. dollar will survive, but it will not be as bulletproof as it is right now, needing to be used as the only way to sell and buy oil and other fossil fuels. That's going to be a problem for us. Absolutely 1,000%. As soon as you start to see other nations taking other types of currencies, that could start the death spiral. And then who do we turn to and blame, right? Somebody's going to have to pay the pipe. Jennifer, how you doing tonight? Mexican Silverback says, Vanguard Mexico is telling employees that the market will recover in 5 years. What says UMass and Tony? Vanguard Mexico is telling employees that the market will recover in 5 years. So I hope they all put in their papers today and walk, because that sounds like a shit job for the next 5 years. That's what I'd say to that. It's a word on the street.
I would say
they may be
I'm not
another job.
I'm not willing to make any predictions through 2023. 2023 is up in the air as far as I'm concerned. Probably more pessimistic about 2023, but 5 years seems a bit overly pessimistic.
Lordy, good morning from Germany.
I'm no financial expert, as the haters tell you every day. So what do I know?
Here's John's comment you were talking about. This one here says, you guys haven't done the math on this. Pretty freaking important, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. What was it? What you're to? John, put it in the comments what you're referring to so we can figure it out.
Lordy's asking about me vaping. I
Lordy.
smoked a cigar earlier, Lordy. I'm just doing a little test on YouTube today.
Little test. Darren, how you doing tonight? Okay, CB. I feel like that was the second time in as many nights that I've seen that. It might not have been you last time, but I know last time I shut up about it and I was like, oh, I'm just going to be quiet. And then this time I came in with a different attitude, I guess. My apologies. I didn't mean to blow up on you. My fault, bro. Rand says, this is how voting works. How like the stream providing the content, please drop a like from us and Tony. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Dark Latin says, going to see Pray for the Devil this weekend. Been waiting for over a year and a half on that one. The Devil, what's that about? I've never even heard of that.
That looked like a good preview.
What is it?
I just saw the preview for it. The last movie we went to go see. I could not give you a synopsis of it. You have to maybe bring it up on your screen. Don't play the preview though, because they'll demonetize you. Just bring up a picture of it.
That happened an hour ago, Tony.
I played a preview of a movie
shit.
and they demonetized a 8-hour stream.
Who cares? Let's just play it.
I played a 1 minute.
It looks
preview.
really good. Oh well, they'll demonetize you too, though. There's a problem. All right, never mind. I won't play it.
Yeah, don't
tell you guys
play
what's
it,
up
but
real
you
quick.
can put a screenshot of it up.
Sure. Okay, here we go. I'll put this up and I'll blow it up. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Okay, there we go. I'll screen share this. Close that. All right. So here's what comes up. Roman Catholic Church combats a global rise of demonic possessions by reopening schools to train priests to perform exorcisms. Although nuns are forbidden to perform this ritual, a professor recognizes Sister Anne's gifts, agrees to train her. Thrust onto the spiritual front line, she soon finds herself in a battle for the soul of a young girl who's possessed by the same demon that tormented her own mother years earlier. Huh, it looks good. The trailer looked awesome.
It looked good to me. I'm a pretty good judge at guessing how good movies are going to be by the trailer. So that one's coming out October 28th, just a few days from now. Wolverine says, Tony and Mass, what are your thoughts on Moran Rants? Oh, sorry, Moran Rants. Do you want to take that one first, Mass?
What was the question? I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
He says, what are your thoughts on Moran Rants? I guess he means Morant's Rants. We had him on the channel to talk about GameStop. He's knowledgeable on GameStop. He says you're going to be a future millionaire. Seems like he likes to pump GameStop.
Yeah, he's very bullish.
That's about where I end my analysis on him.
Yeah, he's bullish and he's not relying on a short squeeze for a GameStop. He thinks GameStop going long is good.
But you're going to be a future millionaire.
Yeah, I second that. That's what I feel. Cash Flowing says, Mass, can you script a show so audience can get involved by live? Yeah, so the Just a Concerned Citizen lives that we do, open it up to that. No doubt. So don't worry about that. Sam says, popcorn ruined the AMC squeeze. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that there were some machinations going on that hurt us over the last 18 months. I agree with you on that.
I can.
Want to go into depth with it? Go ahead, go.
Yeah, I want you guys to go pull up the what's the Berkshire Hathaway video from the annual meeting. What was it, about 10 years ago, where he talks about good dilution. What is good dilution? It's almost word for fucking word exactly what Adam Aaron said. And I know a lot of people got mad at Adam Aaron for talking about good dilution. What is good dilution? That is when you take money, when you raise money and you use it in a way that improves the value to investors. And like he said back then, you can screw up dilution. You can screw up a company without dilution. But if you put that money to proper use, such as doing an acquisition, which improves shareholder value, or paying down debt, which improves the fundamentals of the company. I'm not using Adam Aaron's words. I'm using a speech from 10 years ago. There is such thing as good dilution. So in my mind right now, it remains to be seen, though. I'm not going to give anybody a pass. It remains to be seen. How is this money that they raise from selling ape, how is it going to be used? Right? I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. Everything, we got to see, what are they going to do with this money? But definitely, if they raise money and pay down debt and improve the viability of the company to remain an ongoing concern and improve the credit rating of the company and improve the fundamentals on the financial statements, that could in the long term be a good dilution. I'm never really a fan of dilution, though. That's not a secret. So I'm going to wait and see how much they raise and what they do with it. And then I'll tell you honestly what I think about it, because I'm not going to shy away if I'm not happy about it.
Right on. Right on. Numbers Lad said, what happened to Melbourne Capital closing out their position? Numbers Lad, what position are we talking about? And please don't say short position. Please don't say short position. Adrian says, Rands, I've never voted in my personal life, but I bet every year on paper I've voted. That's how it goes, bro. Yeah, same here, Adrian. I've never voted either.
If you guys need me to link that Warren Buffett speech, or it was a Q&A where they were concerned about some issuing of some additional shares. If you need me to link that in the community tab, let me know and I'll put it up. But it is available out there on YouTube. And
thank you, man.
I was surprised at how the similarities between what he said and what Adam Aaron said.
Yeah, almost the exact same speech you're saying, right?
In my view, it was very, very similar.
Okay. Rand says, Roaring Kitty waited 2 years from $1 to $4.99. Good point, Rand. Excellent point. Right. Let's see. Deborah says, Russia and China sent up gold compared to our 7% Feds going crypto. They have been secretly buying for years. Turkey too. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, some of those former Soviet countries have really stocked up on gold in the last couple of years, big time. But they say China has the most right now. I was actually just watching something on this the other day. Someone was talking about that a congressman introduced legislation to go back to the gold standard again for the US dollar. And someone was saying that they don't think we have enough gold to back the US dollar as far as how many are in circulation right now. Which, that's not good. If that's true. 24 the money says GME next move would be blockchain dividend of some kind on their marketplace. Yeah, something like that, right? 24 the money. Some type of big news for them would be good, because you could see that thing rip quick if it's some real bullish news for them. Dark Latin says, oh, and bros, have you seen the previews for Megan on January? Oh my god, that movie is going to be awesome. For Megan on January. What's that? Megan on January? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Rand says hedge funds need to be right every day to remain. You only need to be right once or them wrong. Yeah, all they need to do is make one mistake. Unfortunately, we can't afford to make any mistakes. Is the problem. CB says the death of the US dollar is as relevant as T plus 90. Not the US dollar, the petrodollar, though, CB. That could be an issue. US dollar is already on the list. SU Ray, what's going on, brother? How are you tonight? Lordy says, hey, Tony, since when do you vape on screen? Oh, we just went over this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
David the Great says, was on Boss Blunt's Discord until he kicked me out for merely saying that truth Adam Aaron used to work for Apollo. I don't trust that guy. Adam Aaron? Adam Aaron used to work for Apollo? Yeah, that's true, right? That was one of his first gigs, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that seems weird. I don't know why that's a big deal of you bringing that up. I mean, that's just fact, right? Right? It says, don't let it phase you. We're tired of this line. Get to limb works, legs in action. Crawl if you have to. Let's finish this. Yeah, let's finish the game. Oh God, I keep that whole sentence keeps popping in my head, and I can't remember what movie it's on. I wish I could. Okay, Adrian, have a good night, man. You too. You too. Be good. Be good, my friend. Are we done chasing IPOs, Tony? R. Baglio says. Were you chasing IPOs, T?
NASDAQ, I only covered a couple IPOs that I believed in. And then the ones that came subsequent to that, I had some money set up to go into some of those, but then NASDAQ announced a freeze on the low float Chinese IPOs because the market makers were losing too much money. Sir, retail's winning too much, sir. We got to do something about this. But they say, they say they're investigating it because something is definitely amiss. Well, I think what is amiss is we were making too much money. We were fucking slaying it on these low flow IPOs. But as long as NASDAQ has them on hiatus, I'm kind of watching and sitting them out. So when I talk about it, it's because it'll be one that I really believe in. I don't try and cover every single IPO that comes out.
Yeah, it's a lot, right?
It's been 3 months since I've talked about an IPO. People still call me the IPO guy. IPO Denaro. I covered 3 of them 3 months ago. But, you can't make some people happy. And we fucking slayed it on those. Every single one of them.
Mexican Silverback says, Master Tony, you guys going to stream on Rumble? I've been off the internet, so I'm clueless about a lot of AMC news. Tony is right now. I just haven't finished setting up my Rumble account yet.
This should be on Rumble. If Rumble's really
difficult
to use. It's difficult to use.
According to, on my side here, it looks like it.
Well, I linked it to my Rumble account. Whether or not it shows up is another thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Pantheon says Adam Aaron did used to work for Apollo in 2020. He was approached by Apollo to loan against the Odeon assets in a bad deal, and he told them to get lost.
There you
Boom.
Go. Bang. Says Pantheon. Thank you, Pantheon.
Like I said earlier, like for all of you who want to believe that Adam Aaron wants to kill this company, he had a chance to bankrupt it in 2020 and he didn't. So I am not on board with this whole hate Adam Aaron. He's in bed with the evil financier companies. I'm not on board with that. He had his chance and he didn't take it. He fought actively against it.
Oh yeah, I hope you didn't think I was going there earlier.
No, I'm just
Okay.
saying no one's even commented that tonight, but I see it all the time on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, the Adam Aaron hating gang.
Yeah. Alan said, I must have invested in Simon. I do have a little investment in Simon. I do own a small position in some Simon company there. The MC says key observation, Alan. Oh boy.
Eric, have a good
let-
night. Thanks for joining in, brother.
Night, Eric. Deborah says DRS is no good for a squeeze play. It dries up liquidity. Deborah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people make that argument, T, right?
I mean, it's something that I've asked, right? Like, what is, and they've provided an answer. Maybe I'll talk about that answer too. I've asked the question, like, what is your goal a short squeeze? What happens if you theoretically DRS 100% of the float and there's no shares to short? How do you get a short squeeze?
Right.
But then they say, oh, well, they'll just, you know, if we can DRS 100% and there's still short shares out there, then we know that it's fake shares. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Then I'll watch GameStop. And when you get to 100%, then I'll keep an eye on it. But I'll also ask the question, like, what's the history? Give me some data. I have no position on DRS. I'm just asking questions. Give me a good relevant example of where DRS caused a short squeeze. Or maybe that's not their goal. I don't really understand what's the goal. My goal is I'd love to see 200% short interest on AMC or GameStop. And I don't know how that happens if you move all the shares out of the market. How are we going to get a good short squeeze if the short interest is nil?
Question. You don't think that would seem impossible, right?
Well, I mean, I'm asking the question. I want someone that's a DRS advocate to come in here and answer that for me. How are we going to get a good short squeeze if they can't short shares? If everything's removed from the market? Maybe that's not their goal. I really don't. I have questions that no one has really been able to answer to my satisfaction, but I'm open to hearing the answer.
So someone in the chat was saying, have you guys ever heard of the paperwork crisis of 1968? NASCAR all out. Do you know about that, T?
Was that the
How they were
paperwork crisis on Wall Street?
68? Yeah, how they weren't able to fill all the orders just because of the
Well, I mean, they
not having enough time.
used to send papers, you know, back and forth through couriers. Yeah.
Right. Go with the wrong people, you know.
I don't remember if that was the year, but I remember in the back recesses of my memory, something about the paperwork crisis. Yeah.
Backyard Boogie. Yes, Redacted is the channel. That is, I forget the name. They used to work for Fox News. Just to give you a heads up, though, I'll tell you this right now. In May of last year, when he first went solo and left Fox News and started his channel, he was saying him to pump penny stocks. I'll never forget it. So, but he seems like he's kind of gone on a different course. I don't know if he's still doing that anymore. After I saw him do that, I stopped watching him, but I know who he is. He used to be one of the guys. And sometimes if Redacted comes up on my check-in to see what they're talking about. But yeah, he was pumping penny stocks back when he first started his live stream. So
Pam, what's up, Pam? Pam the trader, Pam Cakes. John's Day Trade says Adam Aaron is not trying to kill the company, but he certainly tried to kill the MOAS. I'm not going to make a judgment on Adam Aaron, John, but I'm going to tell you what I see. This is just a general market observation, right? This is no revelation to you guys. It's not even specific to AMC, but you see this in company after company, play after play, where a nothing stock runs up to unimaginable prices, the companies, what do? Every single time they do a share offering. That is market economics 101. And that is why I'm telling you guys, for myself, not financial advice, if there's another run up, I'm going to sell at a reasonable price because I expect there'll be another share offering. That is the playbook. That's
paying attention at all.
I'm not rose-colored glasses on AMC. I'm just using basic observation skills. When they have an opportunity to fucking make bank, they're gonna make bank. What do you want them to do? I mean, they got $5 billion in debt. Yes, there'll probably be more dilution on the next run up. You should expect that. In my opinion, you can hate me for saying that all you want. I think you're foolish to ignore that. There's hundreds of examples that we've seen in the last 2 years of hundreds of companies and price run-ups by retail doing this.
You know, with you saying that, I got to be honest with you. I didn't realize, had I known now back in June that those 20 million shares were available to be dropped, I might have played this thing out totally different. I did not know that was coming. I don't know how I missed it. I don't know how I missed it. Good.
What we can hope for is that the run up is fast and swift, not some fucking 2 weeks, 2 months. I want it in a day or two. I want it so high and so fast that we can get out at a price that we feel comfortable with before they can drop the paperwork. That's what I want. I'm not saying a squeeze can't happen. I'm saying I think when the good news comes or a hedge fund gets in trouble, a squeeze is possible, but a dilution announcement will follow it at some point, and you should have that in the back of your mind. So the faster it happens and the higher it goes, the better for us. And just be careful about the people telling you it's going to $1 million and it's going to take 2 months. That's all I'm saying. Because I see it every day on other channels and every other fucking ticker, and the dilution always happens. And then they wonder, oh, what? It just dropped 50% overnight. I was not expecting this. Well, you're stupid. You should have expected it because you see it all the time.
Shad says, I'm beginning to think that the short squeeze is not a play anymore. Not fun. Shad, that is completely a legit argument to make for yourself. That's how you feel. You got to do what's best for you, buddy. No one is holding you hostage. Certainly not me or Tony. Deborah says, look at GME. They DRS a big portion of their shares and a far, Deborah. Yeah, it has not worked, right? And Joel's saying the same thing here. Joel, how are you doing tonight? Joel's saying if your DRS all the shares, you cannot short supply and demand. Yeah.
Dark Latin says, is Ape going to run first and then get diluted? Then AMC goes, well, all right. So just speaking facts, Dark Latin, I don't know which one is going to run first. I kind of think they would run together if there's some company specific news, or, I mean, AMC has a higher short interest, right? So if I'm looking at shorts, AMC is more likely to run first if it's a short squeeze, if there's good news on the company, whatever. They make $1 billion on popcorn. They make some money in Highcroft. Just pick your catalyst. Whatever the news is that is specific to AMC, both can run, but AMC stock has a higher short interest. So I'm looking at that. That's a fact. But I don't know which one would run first, but that's something you can't ignore. But both will run up because both are the same company. And the second part of your question, is it going to run first and then get diluted? So the second part of your question is there's no available shares of AMC to issue right now. That's what I'm thinking. Like if AMC's running and they see it go from $6 to 70 and then drop down to 40. Let's just repeat 2021. They're gonna be filing that paperwork to issue more AMC shares, and that will take days or a week. So you'll have some time. You'll have some time. But I think that if it runs, they're gonna be looking at that as an opportunity. Whether it goes to 70, 700, 7,000, whatever, and comes back down a little bit, they're going to capitalize on that. So you got to use your best personal judgment in any run up of when to take some profits off the table.
Yes. I just want to say real quick, Lordy just put a message up saying, I want to share some good news since I haven't been here often. I'm a proud daddy of a 5-week-old little girl. Lordy, congratulations, man. That's awesome. Thank you for keeping the human race relevant. Appreciate you, man. We need more babies. But yeah, seriously, congratulations, man. That's awesome. I hope she's very healthy. I'm sure she is. So that's good, man. Let's see. Yeah, the real pancakes is here. I've confirmed that now. Yes. Alan says redacted is mostly politics now, Mass. He's a Republican channel for sure. Okay. Yeah, I didn't like what he did with the penny stocks, but I know a lot of people were doing that bullshit when everyone was getting their stimulus checks. But still, it just rubbed me the wrong way. Everyone saying congratulations, Dan Spencer. Have a good night, Dan. JR2218 says how in debt is GameStop? How much
No
in
debt
is GameStop?
No real debt.
They have zero debt.
Not zero, but negligible.
Nothing compared to AMC. Put it that way. Pantheon says you didn't miss it, Mass. They pulled the shares. Right. That's right. I remember now. It was in their filing. That's right, Pantheon. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, because I remember being so shocked that day. And even what's his name? That POS on CNBC there, Sorkin. He wasn't even aware. I mean, when he first came out to make this statement, he said, of course, the shareholders are all going to have to vote on those 20 million to clear. So that deal hasn't been struck yet the price continued to drop. I'm like, something's wrong here. Somebody's not telling the truth. Sure, of course, it was the mainstream media saying that we still had to vote on it, meaning that they didn't drop, right? And then they immediately spun around and said, oh, it's overvalued. We're selling.
John Zaytrade says the original mission was buy and hold. The community was built in diamond hands. Well, I'm a very pragmatic person. That's why I'm so unpopular, John, because I say sometimes things that smack people in the face. I'm not going to tell you in a run-up how high things could go, because I never would have thought GameStop would go into the $400 range. I'm horrible at guessing the top in a short squeeze.
Find the ape father.
Yeah, that's why I don't give price targets, because crazy things can happen when people are buying shit in a short squeeze and FOMO happens. Far be it for me to limit your profit by telling you how high it could go. All I'm saying, however high it goes, and when it starts coming back down, I hope it happens quick so you can get your money. And then I want you to be thinking in the back of your mind that a dilution's probably coming, because it happens time after time on many, many stocks, dozens or hundreds that I've been watching over the last 2 years. That's all. They would be silly to miss that opportunity to sell some shares into a huge run up and bank some money. This is why I think Adam Aron would love to see a short squeeze. It's a great opportunity for him to bank some money, and you should be happy about that. If you like the company. I like the company. I'd like to see them pay off the debt. I'd also like to make a bunch of money.
Yes.
Somewhere in
Yeah,
the
like
middle,
both.
somewhere in
Don't
the
get me
middle, there's a
wrong.
win-win.
Right.
But my price target is not $1 million because I think they will issue some shares or there'll be some fuckery on Wall Street before that happens. So I'll be selling on the way up when it happens in brackets, and those are my brackets. I'm not going to share them because I don't want to cost you money, and I don't want to make you a bag holder either. I don't talk about prices. You do. You've had 2 years to think about it.
Yes. Ribback 489. Thank you. Appreciate you, girl. Let's see. Shads were downvoted dilution of the AMC shares. In 2020, we Shad? Yes, we did, right? We're talking about something different now. Deborah says, if you follow the volume, it's pretty well proven that some has been diluted on APE. This is the reason we are seeing some price increases. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a given, right, T? That he's
Well, I don't know. I want to ask her a question. Like, what part of the volume does she think? Was it Diana that asked that?
Deborah,
what part of the volume do you think signifies that they're selling shares? I'm just curious because Casey and I were having this discussion, and I think we have a gentleman's debate about it. Like my common sense view on it is they were selling, driving the price down, and I said that at some point when it got low enough, they'd stop selling and let the price come back up. So that's my guess on what's happening, but I have no idea if I'm right. Let's just be straight up. KC thinks that they're selling, that KC thinks that them selling is what's causing the price to run up. We'll find out, guys, on November 8th. They'll tell us how many were sold and how much money they made, and we can do the division to see the average share price that they got. Right now, we're all just guessing. But I'm curious what Deborah thinks. Was it the run down that was them selling, or the run up? Because selling to me usually means pressure downward on the price. And the research that I've done is that typically when companies have a shelf offering like this APE where they can sell it whenever they want, is they will do about 10% of the daily volume will be the sales. But just my guess, they were selling, driving the price down, either at the market or off the market.
seems logical, right?
Well, I'm a very logical person, but that does not mean that I'm correct, right?
No, I
I'm
know.
not saying
but if I had to take a stab in the dark, that's what I'd be aiming for. Skidmark says Redacted is legit and his wife is hot. I agree with you on that. She is his co-host. Absolutely 100% Skidmark. Andrew says I was a subscriber when it was Morning Invest. Touche, Andrew. Me too. Channel is totally different now. Agreed. Yep. Back-to-back comments. Agree with both of them. I bet there is over 40 million ape. If truth be told, worldwide, we won't know until the end now, will we? We'll never know for sure, Alan, the total number.
40 million ape
that.
what?
He says, I bet there is over 40 million ape. If truth be told, worldwide, we won't know until the end now, will we?
Well, there was 16 million.
Yeah.
But
Whatever the official share count was at the time.
I'm estimating, if you look back at when they announced APE to when they announced the share offering to November 8th, that's about 6 weeks, and figure at 1.5 to 2 million a day. So what is that? 6 times 5, 30 trading days. I'm going to guess it's going to come in at 40 to 60 million sold, but I could be way off. That's just my guess. He's going to say 60 million were sold at an average price of $2 a share, raising 120 million. I know a lot of people are saying he's selling them for $20 a share, you know, to the highest bidder off the market. I just don't see that, but we'll know on November 8th, guys.
4:30.
Don't hate me. Don't hate me for sharing my opinion.
And another thing, how many companies right now are running around debt free? Just out of curiosity, that
not
we're
many.
investing in. Okay, all right, just checking while we're keeping it real. Let's see. It's all a gamble. Bet on roulette, green only, back to back. That's cash flows. Mexican Silverback says, how long before Ape was created did AA know he was going to? How long before Ape was created did AA know he was going to release Ape? Do you think all of us would still be in this play if AA told us he was dropping Ape back in 2021? Honestly, good question, Mexican Silverback. Good question. That might have changed my opinion on things. I'll be honest with you.
How long before Ape was created did Admiral know he was going to release Ape? I think for quite a long time.
Yeah. That was in the cards for a while. Once he started talking smack, I think.
Once we said we would not approve additional AMC shares, I think they started
like,
figuring out
what's next?
what they.
Yep.
Look, if you're in the executive boardroom and you are looking at a recessionary bearish market with rising interest rates, making refinancing debt problematic, and you got a ticking time bomb of cash running out in 12 to 24 months, you're going to be thinking, we need to raise some fucking cash. What else can we do?
Right.
That's what I think. I think they immediately said, well, do we have a plan B? You guys get to work. Finance, accounting teams, come up with some ideas. And
Deborah said, sorry.
If you're gonna do a cash raise through a share offering, you want to do it before you're in trouble. So maybe he's not selling it. Maybe they came up with the idea and they filed the paperwork. But it's always good to get it in early before you need it. Because if you do it when you're in trouble, Wall Street will short the fuck out of you.
They'll make you pay for it. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's selling it or not, but them taking the initiative to get it done early is the right thing to do in the terms of how Wall Street works and share offerings work. That is standard operating procedure. Get it in early.
Yeah. Numbers, like I said, I had life-changing money. Now I'm holding the bag. It's made me mad. It's made me mad. I'm in the same boat as you, Numbers, letters, but it's made me mad. I was a man before I got into the play, but definitely it's made me mad since I don't consider holding the bag right now, but I definitely had life-changing money that I no longer have. But that was the gamble, right? That was the gamble. I could have taken my profits at 72, but we had a war cry, right? David the Great says, incorrect from my memory. The original mission from experts last year was to mass buy call options like retail did in GME and AMC in January 2021 and AMC in June 2021. Source Roaring Kitty 100%. Was that what was being preached because I don't remember pre-January 2021 with Roaring Kitty. But was that what he was all
I'm
up?
still catching up on all his old stuff. I don't know. But my thesis for a short squeeze has always been high short interest, loaded up options chain, plus a catalyst. Those three things, rocket fuel.
Right. Which we had a couple times last year. And even the beginning of this year.
That doesn't mean that I'm saying go out and buy options every week. I'm just saying when you have all those things magically hit together, it can be really devastating to shorts and market makers both.
Yeah.
Pantheon says, if you look back at the Q4 and Q1 earnings, Adam Aron was very clear mentioning the 50 million preferred shares as an option, although he did not mention APE units. Thank you, Pantheon. Six Sun, do you agree? Do you think Adam Aaron was selling ape when it was in the $10 range? The the offering for ape was not filed at that point, unfortunately. So no, it was in the $3 range when they filed the paperwork, which, yeah, I'm not very happy. If he's selling it at $3, $2, $1.50, not very happy about that. But I'm not paying their bills, so I don't know what all they're looking at. But I do think that they're gaming out, surviving for the long term. So they gotta think about the longevity of the company and do what they think is in the best interest of the company surviving.
CSI says it seems like it will run up when they sell. The price moves because of demand. Y'all know that. So if people want to buy the new ape, then demand will be there for the stock to go up. I agree with that, CSI. I agree with that.
Some of the people were saying, though, like the people that had FTDs that needed to be taken care of, like they need to go buy shares. Like if they were cleared off the FTD list through borrowed shares, they still need to cover them at some point, right? Maybe he was selling them directly to those people off the market, and that's a possibility.
Possibility, yeah.
So if that's the case, let's just game that out for a second as a speculation. If he was selling 20 million to somebody to cover FTDs, he could do that. They could do that off the market. And essentially what that does is removes buying pressure that we would have seen in the price. That's why I'm saying, like, if that was the case, you've diluted the buying pressure. So maybe that was why the price was going down. Maybe there was ape being sold, but not in the market. I'm just gaming a few scenarios out. I don't know.
Right.
But generally, when you're selling shares, it is a negative effect. I'm sure you can find some corner cases where company stock ran up even in a dilution, but I would guess that they're probably pretty rare if you look at a basket of 100 stocks. In the short term, in the 30 days following a dilution announcement.
Yucca says, Tony, are your eyes wide shut behind those shades?
I fucking hate that movie.
That's our girl, Nicole Kidman from AMC Theaters. Come on.
I know. I mean, she was the only hot part of that movie, but just the whole premise of that movie is disturbing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Jennifer, you're trying to save up, so that's nice of you, Jennifer. Someday, when this thing's all over. Yucca says, Jennifer, the whole system is corrupt. Right. Pantheon says, if you look back at Q4 and Q1 earnings calls, he was very clear and mentioned 50 million preferred shares as an option. He did not mention ape units, but he did size the preferred shares. Yeah, so maybe that's why I wasn't picking up on that, right?
I trust Pantheon. I don't remember him saying that, but if Pantheon said it, I believe it.
Yeah, I'll take that as gospel pretty much.
I did look back at the most recent one, and he mentioned it then, and then right after that we got the notice.
Right. Alan says he made up 8 because we voted not to dilute AMC. Yeah, that's definitely more than likely exactly what happened, Alan. And
what else? What other options do they have? I mean,
there's not much.
You're ticking through your cash every quarter. It's getting lower and lower. You got debt coming due. You're going into a rising interest rate scenario. And the investors have said, we're not going to approve more shares. What a fucking I'd hate to go into the office every day and under that scenario. Of course, they had to come up with something. I just honestly wish that this whole short squeeze would have happened before we ever got to this scenario, but it didn't, and we are where we are, and we deal with stuff as it comes to us now.
You know, I'll just speak honestly from my heart. If it wasn't for what I see going on, I would have just gotten out of this fucking a little bit ago, right? Because it is mentally draining and physically draining. And I say that for the people who are on here right now with us, all of you guys who are on here watching and talking with us. For me and Tony, I know I can speak for. Like, yeah, I wish this was over last summer. I thought June 2nd when I woke up and we started hitting those numbers. I'm like, this is it. It's all over. We're gonna hit triple digits, and then it's off to the races. But you know, that wasn't the path that I chose at that time. I continued to hold through even in the downswing, and here we are. So at this point now, I can only control and talk about what is possible. You know, the dates and stuff. I think we've gotten over that as a community. I haven't seen a lot of people putting out videos in the last couple weeks, at least, about any dates. It's been
Yeah,
nice,
they have.
right?
T
Have
plus
they?
90. T plus 90.
Oh Jesus! What is that? November 14th or some shit? Forget it.
I'm just gonna say, because in your chat, Massalorian, they're asking about T plus 90. This whole syndicate document that's going around, in my world, I've already debunked that as blatantly not applicable. And if you want to know why, just go back and look at my tweets. This is a syndicate, is a group of brokers that buy shares from an underwriter in an IPO, and they have T plus 90 to take care of things like phone bills and travel expenses, to submit the final wrap up of all their expenses. It's all, I've given you all the links and the screenshots on my Twitter. Now, I understand other people have different takes on it, but I would invite you to look at the documents with an open mind. I do not buy into this T plus 90. Hallelujah. If T plus 90 date happens, I'll send a case of champagne to whoever's been promoting it, because I'd love to see this over with just like you guys would, but I can't get behind T plus 90 as being anything meaningful, because I think, like always, the documents are being misinterpreted to fit a narrative that someone wants to talk about something for 90 days.
Right. And if we think that these guys are newbies and they're not going to be prepared for what's coming in 90 days, you're nuts.
And then 90 days is going to happen, and they won't talk about it like they never mentioned it in the first place, like every fucking date that you've heard about in the last 2 years. They just pretend they never talked about it. But I hope they're right.
Always learning, always saving. Because I don't get why people get so mad about Abe. It's literally the same exact thing as if they had issued a crypto and sold that into the market and we wanted that. Only difference is we could have used that crypto to buy things from AMC, to purchase into the company. Also, Adam Aaron could have held back some of that crypto as it accumulated some wealth and slowly released it into the market and created more revenue. So that's where I split with you on that. Always learning. But
I wish they would issue a crypto. I've laid the case out how that could make them a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we could have taken it, bought that crypto
without dilution.
Right, without dilution, without right, exactly.
Come on, Adam Aaron. What the fuck?
I know, and they already have the plumbing set up to take all of these crypto coins. So how hard is it to add an ape coin to that? If they've already taken Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Shiba Inu.
They keep on saying they're looking into it. Maybe they are. Maybe, maybe that will be the fucking catalyst. He's talked about it at least 3 or 4 times, issuing their own crypto. It's not like it's off the table.
Right.
still
And
hold
he's
out
not
some
going to
hope.
continue to mention that without actually discussing it over the last quarter, right? I mean, he's not going to keep bringing it up if they haven't even talked about it at all. So it's got to still be on the table. You're right. Good point.
Yeah. It's still in my hopium basket. It would be a fucking game changer.
Yeah. Mason says those three things don't mean anything. We've had those three things and the stock went down. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, but it's also we've had those three. Well, it depends on the intensity of it, right, Mason?
We have not had a catalyst on top of a loaded options chain and buying pressure and high short interest. We've never had the catalyst. What was the catalyst in June that made the price run up?
2021.
There was no catalyst. It just ran up.
It was all FOMO. Yeah, it was all FOMO. Yeah.
I'm talking about some announcement. Some announcement from the company that fundamentally tells shorts they are fucked.
Nothing. Not in June. It was all FOMO.
No.
Yeah.
And if the catalyst
was that third thing was
high short interest,
Sorry,
loaded up options chain, and a catalyst. And when the catalyst happens, you'll see the options chain load up. Trust me. Even people won't even care about the IV. They're going to be buying the fuck out of options. And the more that happens, I will 100% give you my blessing. When you see the news comes out that is going to make this thing take off, buy some options. I was buying them every day in late May through June. That's how I made a fucking mint. And I also sold them. I didn't buy them really, really early. I was buying at the money or close to the money strikes and watching them just fucking print. But, you know, once it got over $40, I was not still buying options. I was not like a Matt Kors buying $100 strikes.
Was he doing that?
Yeah. I was buying them in the $12 to $20 range, close to the money. When you see it start going, you got my blessing. But take the money. When it's making you money, take the money. Don't feel bad about it. CB says Catalyst will be the Hycroft news. It could be, but I think we're 2 years away from 1 to 2 years away from Hycroft news. Hopefully sooner, but everything for Hycroft depends on drilling results, and they got a lot of holes to dig.
I don't know what's going on this week on Pantheon, but good luck, Pantheon. I don't know what's going on with you. Andrew says, did you guys see the HYMC was sued? Lawsuit filed yesterday, Monday in parentheses? No.
What were they sued about?
I don't see anything. Don't know. Oh, that URL didn't come up. Hold on.
Sam says Adam Aaron should focus on new ideas and ways to make AMC profitable. Yeah, Pantheon is right. He's got popcorn. He's got co-branded credit cards. Those are two that we know about. And I know the AMC Ideas team, shout out to them on Twitter, is feeding him a bunch of other ideas. And they look at all of those ideas. So increasing revenue streams is definitely one way to increase the bottom line and get towards profitability. But, you know, this is going to take a few quarters. As you guys know, popcorn and credit cards are not dropping on November 8th. And he's looking at using the theaters for other things, right? Besides just movies. So I think they're doing the best they can. And I'm sure they're looking at other ideas. Well, there'll be more announcements coming out.
Yeah, Andrew, if you could this on that, I can't find anything on it, but I'm like looking in the right place. CB says, Mass, I'm considering joining your channel. Maybe put on a Dallas Cowboys hat, and I will. I got a couple of Dallas guys in fantasy, so maybe you'll catch me wearing a Cowboys hat one day. Let's see. By the time this is over, says Andrew, Massalorian will have to put dentures in before any date. Seriously. Seriously. You're gonna be toothless by the time this is over. Toothless. Forget dentures. High Metal says, I'm just glad Aaron got his fucking. Oh, boy.
Just glad what?
Adam Aaron at least got his.
Oh.
Russell Corey says, I thought it would take days, and 2 years later, here we are. Yeah.
I don't think none of us thought in June that we'd be here a year and a half later still talking about it.
No. God damn, no. Never even crossed my mind. I'd even still be on YouTube. I would be sitting on a beach somewhere right now.
Pam says,
Right.
go see Ticket to Paradise. That's with Clooney and Julia Roberts, right, Pam? Two of my favorite actors. How was the synergy between them? Six Sun says, Tony, would you let us know when you start buying AMC calls? I have some AMC calls right now, Six Sun. Let me see what I have. I buy calls every few months when AMC is at a dip. So, and I buy them close to the money. Let's see what I have.
AMC to T90. Yeah, Joel.
For Six Sun, I have some Highcroft January $1 strikes. Just in case of any announcement between now and January. If they go to zero, that's fine. I didn't spend more than I'm willing to lose. I have AMC $8 strikes for March. And when AMC was a little bit higher, I bought some $10 strikes for December. Those are questionable right now. We need good news for those to print. I'd be buying very close to the money if I was buying some more. And then hope for any good news. And I would buy them as far out as you can afford to give yourself time to be wrong.
CB says, Catalyst will be the day after I sell. No, it will be the day after I sell, CB. Guaranteed. You don't know my luck. Just wait till I sell, and after that, you know you're good. High Metal says, investing in Radio Shack from now on. I hear you, brother. Fundamentally, that might be the last play I make. Skidmark says maybe we pounce in November at earnings. Depends on what they say at earnings, right? Skidmark. And Chris says, yep, holding to recover at this point. Yeah, we're almost all in the same boat with that right now. We're not, we can't go back to June of last year. We can't go back to May of this year when it got stopped at 34. Deborah says, just look at it like this. If y'all sell and it runs, how would you feel? It costs us nothing to hold, but costing the crap out of them. Kenny G has been selling properties like crazy. 6 of them last count. He's also been buying new properties too, though, right? Am I wrong on that? Or is he's also picking up new properties, right? He moved the headquarters to Miami from Chicago, right?
Griffin?
Yeah.
He's been buying properties on a little island outside Miami, yeah.
He's not a big fan of Lori Lightfoot, I guess. Justin, no, we have not talked about BBIG.
Pam says that the movie and the synergy between Clooney and Julia Roberts is very good. I'm going to go see that, Pam. Two of my favorite recent, this is going back 10 years, but two of my favorite Clooney movies are The American, and even though it's a little depressing, The Descendants, just from the cinematography and the on-location shoots in Hawaii.
The Descent with George Clooney?
Yeah, that was a movie where he was in Hawaii and his wife died, and then he found out she was cheating on him.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of a
I don't think I'm
depressing
familiar with
movie, but
Okay.
I mean, the acting and the storyline and the whole arc of it all is, if you like good movies, that's a good movie.
CB, have a good night, buddy. Respect for you too. Thanks for joining us. Sounds like a line from Game of Thrones. When all is said and done, the people that stayed in this play till the end, they will be writing songs about making movies. It will be called the Real Start Money Booyah. Elevate the frequency. How you do? People should play options if you know how to properly. Otherwise, they are giving them enemy cash to kick the AMC can down the road. Yeah, we've been preaching that for a minute now. Elevate the frequency. I know anyone's been following me for a while. I've been saying that.
We're not
We
big
gave
on
them
lottery
plenty.
ticket. We're not big on lottery ticket options, unless you know for a fact, unless you have a greater than 55% chance that something, belief that something's about to be announced, whether it's good or bad news, then you should buy options. The last one that I bought was, what was it? I think it was puts on BBBY. I forget. It's been a few months since I've had a major print on an option play. And I've had a few that haven't worked out recently. I had some Mullins that didn't pay, some Highcrofts that didn't pay, some Weber that didn't pay. Weber got a buyout offer today, by the way. It's a heavily shorted stock. It popped up to about $6.30 today. But
you still hold your cruise options? The cruise?
yeah,
options?
I think they expire in January. I'll probably lose on those.
I saw. Good.
I was reading Madeline's comment. Are you not streaming during the day anymore? So Madeline, I've been in a fucked up time schedule with Scarlett working night shift, but she just started on Monday. Excuse me, hiccups. She just started Monday a new job back on day shift after me telling her I can't keep doing this on her days off, which was like half of the week. She's wanting me to stay up with her till 4, 5, 6 in the morning because she can't go to sleep at night because she's working night shift on her work days, and it just really screwed up my schedule. So I'm going to sleep at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and it's hard to be up at 5:30 in the morning to watch pre-market. But thank God she got a new job and a big raise and started the new job on Monday. So I'm slowly getting my sleep cycle back to day shift hours. And yes, I will be streaming. There's a lot of nonsense, crazy plays going on right now that I don't really want to talk about because I know people are going to want me to tell them that GTII and MULN and MMTLP are going to the moon, and I don't want to be the person telling you, it's probably done. So it's better for me just to not be there. I'm answering questions on Twitter DMs and Discord, and I'm still here every day, but I'm researching other stuff for some upcoming videos. And when my sleep cycle is totally back to normal, I'll be back on day streams. And to be honest, in a a bear market, with the exception of the last few days, what is there really to talk about? Everything's topsy-turvy. One day it's up, one day it's down. I'm just not doing a ton of day trading when I can't predict what's going on. You make 30% on something one day and then it drops 40% the next. I don't want to be steering anybody wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be streaming 6.5 hours watching the markets melt down. Like, that's no fun for anybody. I can make more productive use of my time researching stuff and double checking due diligence that other people are talking about. So follow me on Twitter. If you're not on there, I'm posting stuff a lot. I try and cross post it to the community tab, and I'm definitely engaged with the Discord team with questions that they have.
Ken saying, Tony, what is the likelihood of a squeeze if there's a merger, even though no company will want to take on $5 billion in debt?
If there's a merger or acquisition or a buyout, if AMC was bought by somebody, they're gonna say what the offer price was, just like what's going on with Twitter, and the price will peg at that price. So if you were short above that, you're fine. And if you were short below that, you're fucked and you'll have to cover. But generally those things you've seen buyouts a dozen, 24, 100 times in the last year. They almost always just peg right at the buyout price. Unless there's some uncertainty if the buyout's going to go through, like with Twitter. So I don't know. I don't see a short squeeze scenario if there's a buyout. I just see it pegging at the buyout price.
David the Great says, when AA tweeted to stand down on the NFT per share, I knew the squeeze would be delayed for another year or more. Yeah, he must have had his reasons for doing that, whatever they're, I can't be sure, but he definitely was pretty adamant about standing down on the NFT per share. Why? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Alan, I'm not reading that comment, but it is funny. Delta Doc says, Pam, the brass at the bow want you to make a guest appearance if you're interested. They know about your YouTube popularity. This is a good question. Walker's World says, do you think AA anticipated that they would short the hell out of Ape before he dropped it? Do you think he was prepared for what happened or expected it? Yeah, because they were allowed to short right out of the gate, right? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, T?
I don't think that he anticipated it being run down to $1.50.
Yeah, neither did we, right? For that matter. We thought they were going to kind of just come neck and neck and eventually join each other.
I bought some at $5. So
Me too.
I certainly didn't expect it to go get run down that much, but that's me putting my personal bias in what I think Adam Aaron thought. I don't think he thought it would be shorted down that hard. Shorted or sold off, but did they anticipate that so many YouTubers and influencers would tell you sell Ape? I don't know. I don't think I doubt they anticipated that. I mean, surely they gamed out different scenarios, but I don't know. I'm injecting my own personal beliefs. I'm just shocked that it got run down that hard.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, there were other things that contributed to that, especially the market conditions themselves, right? The overall market played a huge role in that, I think. The timing wasn't the best either, you know?
The good news is based on, basically no news. It's been going up 5, 6, 7% a day for the last week, right?
Yep. Joel,
So
have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, man.
maybe we will be redeemed. I've been buying it all the way down. So I have not changed my core belief
No, me neither.
that at some point AMC and APE will reach price parity.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I haven't changed my opinion on that. We just haven't seen it happen yet. It's taken a lot longer than I expected. All right, team. We're running up at 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know about you, but it's 1 right now. I'm gonna be calling it a night. I don't know if you're gonna stay on. If you'd like to, feel free. But I need to go and meditate and relax, calm my mind down.
Why does the meditate thing ring a bell? Someone else talking about meditating recently?
It's the only thing that calms me down when I get this emotional upheaval. Talking about these things, it really
By the
does just
way,
chill me out.
I can't remember if it was Lou or Jackson Hunter or someone talking about meditating, but anyways, I'll leave you with this, Massalorian. On YouTube, there are some excellent channels with like 6-hour recordings of meditation for sleep.
Okay.
If I
That you
can't shut my brain off,
Yeah.
those are very helpful.
Okay. Okay.
Just
I usually
play-
use the rain, but the rain, blackout rain.
Yeah,
videos.
these are things like that. It'll have rain or different things playing as background music, but also someone talking you through the relaxation sequence.
Okay.
And I have used that from time to time when I know I need to go to sleep and I can't shut my brain off. So check that out.
All right. I will check that out. Yeah, I have real trouble with that at night, right? I mean, it's going to take me at least an hour and a half to wind down right now. So, and I still have work to do. So, all right. So you're okay. Yeah, you're okay with that right now? You're all right with
Yeah, I mean, I probably need to try and go to sleep. I'm not sleepy, but I need to try.
Yeah, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Relaxed guy. The relaxed guy. Amazing stuff, says Andrew. All right, Andrew, I'll check it out. The relaxed guy. I wouldn't mind a female voice, but I'll take a guy's voice, whatever.
Whatever you
I
want.
don't
Whatever you want.
discriminate.
It's available on YouTube. Whatever you want, Massalorian.
All right, I'll check it out. I will check it out. Real quick, I just want to say to my mods tonight who are in here: Rands, Pam, Diaz, Adrian. I didn't miss anybody, right? I think we had 4 or I hope I didn't miss anybody.
Javi was in. Adrian.
Javi. Yeah, I got Diaz, Pam, Prometheus. Yeah, in the beginning. That's right. Yep. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching our backs. We appreciate you very much.
We do appreciate you. It's a lot of real talk. Maybe, I know it's very different than other channels, but I can assure you, Massalorian and I both are still holding all of our shares. We're both we're bullish on the long-term prospects of the company, despite what the haters say. But I'm going to continue to be the voice of reason, no dates, no brackets, and coach you through holding any stock in a bear market, because statistics show that holding stocks that you believe in, stocks that you think are going to be here 5 years from now, holding them is better than trying to time the market. Holding them and buying them on dips. So whether it's AMC or any other stock, look for opportunities. If you think the company is going to be around, and survive the bear market and have patience, you will, your future self will thank you. Not financial advice. You always got to do what's best for you. And if you're holding a company you don't believe in, then you probably should sell it, whatever the stock is. But we talk about a lot of them tonight. By the way, I'm adding to Pfizer. You might have seen the 10,000% price increase they're doing on their COVID vaccine. I bought some calls on Pfizer for middle of next year. And another ticker that I'm going to be talking about this week is CLAR. CLAR, another highly shorted stock that we'll be talking about that this week in a video. So
sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you guys. Thanks all for everyone who joined us tonight. Everyone who donated to us. Thank you guys so much. Can't do this without you. And say for me, I'm gonna keep saying what I'm saying and keep getting demonetized. Love you guys. Have a good night. We'll talk soon. Bye.
cheers. Thanks, Mass. Thanks everybody for watching.
You too, T.